Did I tweet that I'm live? No, I did not. So I'm not even here right now. I'm not live until I hit post all. Okay, now we're live. Hello, beautiful people. How is everyone today? I hope you're having a beautiful time zone wherever thou may art. We've got Whiskey in the house. We've got Bean in the house. We've got the Pidge in the house. We've got everybody in the house, in the house, in the house, in the house. Thank y'all so much for being here. Man, I'm, kind of floatlessly aiming. That was a misspeak, but it kind of is accurate. Yeah. Just kind of going through it a little, And this is the space where I can say that, and I know y'all won't judge me. Because if you be on some bullshit in the comments, there's a very short distance between you and the door, and my mods will see you out. But I know y'all are not those people. So we keep it candid around here. We keep it authentic. We keep it unmasked. We keep it true to ourselves. And my PDA ass sticking to a schedule means that whatever the dice is rolled on that day is the me that will be appearing. And it's been like that the last few streams, but I'm still able to get on here and be on stream. So I want to thank y'all for allowing me the space to do that, because I want to be that space for y'all too. We are the real deal up in here. Bean. What's the sitch? I hope everyone can hear me okay. I know the mic is a little far back, but okay. So, lot to go over today. But first, I need a sip of water.
He needs some milk.
First and foremost, I don't know if y'all caught it in the starting soon, because the music doesn't change. It just kind of pops up. But I did drop some new moich. And I would love to show y'all. That's the one thing I don't have pulled up yet. And I know. I'll flip over to the screen when I'm there. But I dropped 5 new pieces. I haven't announced it anywhere else yet. But I was getting a lot of requests for merchandise, t-shirts, wearable things that talk about being immunocompromised, or talk about being disabled, or talk about using spoons. And I took all those suggestions to heart, and I sat on them and tried to think of what I wanted, and I churned out 5 of them. So I'm debuting them here on stream right now. You guys get the first look. Now listen, I don't have any control over how the order of the presentations on this website. This is just Teespring. So if I could, my autistic ass would have color-coded pages without everything in alphabetical order. It would be amazing. So it's not in the order. We're going to have to find them, but they're worth looking for. So here's this first one. On the front, it's the abbreviation for what is on the back. Your unfriendly neighborhood immunocompromised person. Because I said that at the beginning of a video, and a few people were like, that needs to be on a shirt. And I was like, okay, bet. Here, I'll do you one better. Do you like hoodies? But we have t-shirts and sweaters and everything. And at the bottom, I put, I don't know if you can see it in this image that well, but I can pretty much make it out. This item was designed by an unfriendly neighborhood immunocompromised person. Just because the user of this item is using this item doesn't mean it... I'm trying to read it and I don't have it memorized. Doesn't mean it serves as an invitation for unsolicited questions about, what the shirt's about. The user's health. Just let us enjoy things, okay? Damn. But that's in tiny text. That's in the fine print. So it will be clear on the shirt, I promise. But so that's one. I'm going to have to probably type search. But that is okay. Let's see. We've got spoons. We've got spoons. So our internet went out the other night and I saw the T-Rex page and it gave me an idea for a no spoons shirt, like the Google no internet screen. And it says, you know, that's the exact dinosaur. I gave him a little spoon. And you know how it always gives you recommendations that are not fucking helpful whatsoever? So I put, try taking a leisurely stroll, doing some breathing exercises, or going to bed and trying again tomorrow. And of course, error, executive dysfunction on the bottom there. Just a total shit post, but I love it. It's so fun. I'm going to be wearing the shit out of it. And I've got sweaters and stuff. And then this one is, it's pretty self-explanatory. The final spoon. This is my last one, so you best be treading lightly. And hey, that's just as much as for you as it is for me. What are these noises that I'm hearing? Your game is connected to my stream right now. The sound is coming in.
Jesus Christ.
Let me do a quick BRB, y'all. This is hilarious. Sorry. Oopsie doopsie, PJ said he was powering up Cyberpunk and for some reason it was coming through the fucking computer. I don't know, guys. Okay. I don't make the rules around here, but we back. Nothing happened. PJ didn't just fall. What are you fucking talking about?
It's the cat. Blame the cat.
I'm gaslighting you right now. My captive audience. Hi, Waba. Welcome in. Hi. We're just going over my new merch drop real quick. So this is the third or fourth one I've shown you. I don't remember at this point, but there are 5 of them. Of course, we've got Powered by Spoonie. And I just love that little logo. I think him so cute. And then last but not least, we have one. Maybe if I just search it. I'm also thinking about just like building my own little website instead of going through Teespring to show y'all this, because like there are so many better ways to compile everything and categorize everything, and it makes my palms itch, and I want it to be easy for y'all to navigate, because it's not. And I don't like that. All right? But this one's definitely my favorite, especially when the picture doesn't load, bitch. You know what? Go to Potatum.com and look for yourself on a device with better internet. But essentially, it's a smiley face. You can see it. And it says, I don't know how to tell you to give a shit. And that can apply to so many fucking things. And I made it because I'm sick of people asking me why I care so much about things that they don't care about. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Maybe you should give a shit about other people on the planet. I don't know. So that's essentially the message behind that one. So yeah, that's our new Moich drop, people. It's on there now. Best of luck finding it. I am going to try to find a solution. Remember, I am but a one-tater team, okay? Just me and my little top self, most of the time fried and baked. Okay? Let me catch up with the chat. Fourth wall. I'm definitely going to look at Waba. Thank you so much. I'm definitely going to look into that. Okay. This is my first time doing what I'm about to do. So we're going to learn about it together. And by the thing, I mean both shadow work and the giveaway that I'm currently doing. So my new buddies at Zenful Note sent me this for free, and I'm going to give it away because this one's mine that I purchased. I purchased one because I had a 40% off coupon on TikTok Shop, so I bought this for myself. And then I was like, wait a minute, can I apply to be affiliate? And then I got in. So like I was a customer first. Now I'm an affiliate, and I was going to cover this on stream, affiliate or not affiliate, because we cover pertinent topics in other books too. So it was just all serendipitous. But since I now have 2, this is the one I purchased. I'm keeping for myself, but it is available on the website. This is just the second edition. It's a hell of a lot thicker. But this original edition Shadow Work Journal by Zenful Note, I will be giving away. And I was like, PJ, how the hell are we going to do this? Like, we got to make sure that y'all are following the Twitch account and also be here. But like, y'all are probably like, what if I'm a lurker? What if I don't want to interact in the chat? I'm not going to make you type anything out. But what we're going to do from here until maybe like the halfway point of the stream, which will be, let's see, maybe an hour and a half from now or so, until I take my first BRB. Oh my gosh, Calhoun Creator, thank you so much for the subby wubby. I appreciate you so much. With Prime, ooh, I feel special. From me, thank you so much, my sweet friend. I really appreciate that. But okay, so if you would like to enter in this giveaway and you are here and you are following me here on Twitch this evening, put this emoji in the chat. And I think I have emojis just for my followers, so you have to be following me to use them, so it'll work, I think. Right? Is that how that works?
It could be sub.
Sub. It could be sub only. I don't want to gatekeep like that.
Yeah.
Okay, just type the words like I'm in or giveaway, like something to the effect of, hey, count me please, I'm here, like, and PJ will keep track with those. And that's how we do giveaways around here. Super sloppily and triply uppy. And I'll announce this after my BRB here in a little while. Announce the winner of this giveaway. Okay, how do I get these emojis off my screen? Okay. I didn't want to look too far ahead in this book before stream because I do want it to be like an experience with you all, like my first time doing shadow work, some of y'all's first time hearing about it. But I did kind of flip through and mark essentially what I want to cover in tonight's stream. It'll give you a great preview. If you don't happen to win this one tonight, fear not, because check my pinned comment in the chat. If you go to zenfulnote.com/potatum spelled out, not with the number 8, and use code potatum, again spelled out, you'll get 15% off of your own shadow work journal. And they have both of these. They have books you can read. They have poetry books. Like, I'll just take you on a little journey. So you go to zenfulnote.com/potatum. You'll land here. They have a 369 journal. And I really want to get back into journaling because I used to do it when I was a kid, but I don't know. I'm not like motivated enough to actually do it. But like if I'm doing stuff that helps me, I clicked a side button on this mouse. This mouse is like for a space engine. There's so many buttons on the mouse. Why? Because this book will like help me through some shit that I don't even know about yet that I'm still holding on to. That will give me like the impetus to keep doing it. Like my ADHD ass has to have reward of some sort. And if it's me learning, and it has to be more than just me getting it off my chest, right? Because I can do that.
Stinky.
Hey, Stinky. Hey, Nugget.
Bitches, I am here.
Nugget and Crystal, they came here at the same time. Welcome, friends. Real quick, if y'all would like to enter the Shadow Journal giveaway, just pop in the chat and say I'm in, or I want to enter, or this is my entry, or the word giveaway. Just something so Pidge knows. He's going to gather up all the names and throw it in a randomizer, and we're going to pick a winner tonight. Okay, but anyway, they have more than just the Shadow Work journals on this website.
Meow.
Meow, indeed.
Meow, meow, meow.
Uh-oh, hold on. We gotta bring a cat. I forgot. That's the first time that someone's used it since I put the sound on. It's just a man going meow, meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow. Who do we have? Is that a Mista?
It's a Baba.
It's a Flubby. Is that a big girl?
Look at this big girl and her big belly.
Look at a big, beautiful belly. And look at the Pete's. This is our oldest. Her name's Flurb. PJ's had her for about
10 years?
10 years. Holy shit. She's established, y'all. What happened to my voice just then?
She's established, yo.
I'm giving up my moonlighting goose job right now.
She's doing the scary eyes.
Yes, she's got her. Boop. The Ring camera makes her eyes do crazy things. But we love Flurb. She's been living with me and PJ here. They moved in June 2021. Oh my gosh, it's a twofer. We've got Mister in the house.
He walked right up.
He walked right up. He was like, what about me? What am I? Chop kitty huevos. Sleepy boy. Him so soft and sweet.
And baby.
Him baby. And him named Mister.
Thanks for asking to see the kitties, Wobber.
Yes. It's okay, Bean. It's okay. It doesn't matter where you live. I will. Bitch, I am here, Mister said. I will ship it to you if you win. Just if you live on the moon or something, I don't know if I can swing that.
That's tough.
But, UK, that's not a problem. I don't want to cut anybody off from entering. I don't want to cut anybody off from access to this information. Or if you don't win tonight, you can order your own and get a fucking discount, bitch. Zenflenote.com/potatum. But anyway, we're going to get right into this tonight, okay? Am I a little nervous? Yeah, I'm actually a lot nervous. Oh my God, PJ had to just speed rescue Mister from crawling over the cords. Could you put him away
Yeah, I'm
to
gonna
save
have
you
to.
some cardio and...
Yeah. He just like...
Plus, my hair's already falling down, baby. Y'all, I cut my hair up to my shoulders in February. Literally, it was here, and I'm not kidding. What is all of this? She's got her own zip code. She's on the grid. Good Lord. I don't even eat Wheaties. You know?
Yeah, you eat Harry's.
Okay. Thank you, baby.
Yeah, of course.
It'll save everyone some trouble.
Yeah, I just love him.
I know, but I also love not being disturbed while I'm streaming, and so do you.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to turn this music down a little. Is this the same, just like one song? It can't be. No, bitch. It just starts over every time. That's why I think it's the same longest song in the world. Like I said, I didn't cover anything in this beforehand, but I want to have like an authentic first time experience going through this with you, but I did kind of thumb through to see, okay, at least what do I want to cover in the stream. It's a nice little preview. And we might, depending on how heavy and how deep and how like draining this could potentially be, like I'm going to try not to take it there. I'm going to try to interject my facetiousness into it, and just crack dark humor jokes like we always fucking do here, and keep it, like, always bring it back to the light side, because I don't like hanging out in that space for too long, because the longer you can hang out in it, the harder it is to get out. I just wanted to cover this tonight, like, affiliateship aside. Like, this was established after the fact. Like, I wanted to cover this already. But my hope is that it can help some of you process things that you don't remember happened. Not like repressed memories, but just like, wait a minute, damn, that's why. Just like making retroactive realizations. And this stuff really does tie into our other book that we've been covering, Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. The book of razor blades that entitles you to financial compensation upon reading it. And it'll also tie in if you're, late discovered neurodivergent, even if you're not. Like, this is pretty universal. It's just a matter of picking it up and deciding to do the work, because it's fucking hard. It's fucking hard. Waba, if I could donate my hair, you have no idea how fast I would. You have no idea. I'd love to donate to the cause. Yeah, PJ's hair is longer than mine, if you can believe it. Isn't that right, baby?
Yeah.
Okay, again, anytime during the stream until about the halfway point, just enter in the chat. I'm in, giveaway please, whatever, anything pertaining to the giveaway. And we'll log your name and pick a random one. But for now, let's just dive the fuck in. And I only started hearing about shadow work within the past year or so through social media and algorithms and such. And this book has been beating the shit out of my TikTok algorithm. Like every 5th or 10th video, it's someone covering this stuff. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I need it. Because like I'm interacting with the videos because it really like resonates with me what they're saying. Like people buying this just to do it and then like covering them doing it on video and being like, shit, that took me to a place I wasn't expecting. Yes. And that talks about it. Yes. Shadow work is from Carl Jung. He is in this book. And it talks about him. I'm not going to like necessarily cover every single page leading up to that, but it does give you a history of shadow work in here. But let's just fucking get into it a little bit, huh? It's okay to be nervous. Because I'm nervous too. Nervous to like look inward and introspect. But that's okay. Let's do it together, okay? So what is shadow work? Shadow work is about revealing the unknown. The shadow is an unconscious aspect of your personality that the ego does not identify with. You may experience your shadow when you're triggered in social interactions, relationships, in episodes of anxiety or sadness. The unconscious mind contains repressed emotions from painful events, causing impulsive behaviors and unwanted patterns that form your, quote, dark side. That's super Sithy. Kylo Ren is my Sith, my inner Sith. In short, the shadow is composed of the parts of yourself that you've forgotten, abandoned, and repressed in order to grow and fit in with the mold of society. Again, very like autistic masking, right? Like, hello. Think back to your childhood and recall the ways in which you would express yourself only to be rejected. You may have been crying and told to stop. You may have been laughing uncontrollably in a classroom and given a dirty glance from your teacher or peers. Yes to both. Yes to both. Of course to both. There are countless ways in which you may have been reprimanded for what was deemed as bad and praised for what was good, and learning to adjust your behavior accordingly. These repressed parts of yourself don't go away forever. They are stored and locked inside of your unconscious mind. Shadow work is the process of revealing, accepting, and integrating these parts of yourself that you have repressed and rejected. The techniques in this journal will allow you to dive into unconscious pockets of repressed emotions and transcend the negative effects they currently have on your well-being. Now, of course, before we continue, they do put a bit of a disclaimer in here. And it's a good one. Anytime I'm covering stuff like this, I don't have any credentials. I'm not a licensed counselor or therapist. I didn't study it in school or anything of the sort. All of my knowledge, know-how, and opinions are due to 31 years of lived experience and complex PTSD, and just I draw from that. I don't try to pretend that I know it all or that I know what's right. I just know what works for me and what resonates with me. So this is me passing on that information to y'all. But the goal is to make the unconscious conscious so that you may work on them in self-reflection and acceptance. While anyone can do shadow work, a licensed mental health expert is a good option, especially for those who have experienced severe trauma or abuse. And I've been in therapy. I haven't been in over a year because of telehealth reasons, but I was going to therapy like fairly fucking consistently. Just catching up on the chat here. Oh yes, Waba covering shadow work in their 20s. Ironically, Waba did a lot of work on themselves by themselves before they... Oh, okay, you have a psych degree and your master's. Holy shit. Though those did help as I put myself into therapy for my master's because I needed a vent place. Yes. Hi, Spec. I didn't see you come in. Yes. I'm also excited and scared and nervous and like, blah. But I don't want to do this by myself and then just sit by myself with my thoughts and like stew in my own, misery. I don't know what word to use. Not misery. Just, it's a lot. It's a lot. But we're here together. Oh, you just came in. Nice. Nice. If you're interested in the giveaway, by the way, Spec, or anyone at any point, just pop a message in the chat. I'm in, I want in, or the giveaway. I came. And PJ is keeping track of those. Please don't apologize. I'm so sorry that you've been feeling sick lately. I'm proud of you. Please exist here in any capacity that you feel comfortable with. I never want you to feel pressured to interact in any way, but I'm just glad you're here. WABO, let's see. Master's mental health counselor. I'm qualified to be pre-licensed, but that $500 test is bullshit. Yeah. And the requirement required to transfer for a job with 30 times the amount of work for only a minimal amount of more pay. Yep. That's capitalism for you, baby. I'm very glad, Spec. I'm very glad. We love having you here. Okay, so if, that's just the disclaimer that the book has and that I have for covering this kind of material. Continuing. Before beginning your shadow work, it's important to set an intention to openly notice and question your own reactions. The shadow is apparent in strong emotions and dissatisfaction. Be sure to keep a mental log of these sensations to truly understand where the patterns occur, and use this journal as a tool to identify what is causing them. The Get to the Root pages are an excellent resource to track your shadows and their roots. Yeah, this book has, it's like half things to fill out. Reverse camera, Tatum. And you can't see it for the exposure, but just trust me, there are things on the pages, even though that looks like a fucking empty fucking book. That's room for you to write. It's like half journal, half reading. Like it's this thing has everything. Okay, let's cover why shadow work is important, and then we'll get into it. There are many benefits to shadow work. Your pains and triggers can be guides to help you understand what you deeply care about, bringing you closer to your life purpose. Conversely, you will come to identify toxic patterns in your life and change them completely. Another benefit of shadow work is that you'll develop more courage and confidence to face the unknown and embody your whole self. You'll develop deeper love, acceptance, and understanding of yourself, which helps improve your relationships with others. Practicing shadow work helps you separate from egotistical thoughts and will increase empathy and compassion for others. Compassion, in turn, helps exercise other forms of positive emotions like gratitude that can help better your mental and physical health. Failure to face and deal with the shadow elements can be the seed of adversities and prejudice between unrepresented groups or individuals and can trigger anything from a small argument to a major war. Recognizing shadow elements is an integral part of becoming a compassionate, reasonable individual. Good shit. It does talk about Carl Jung in here. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but he is essentially the father of shadow work and the psyche, understanding the psyche. Let's see. We don't have to cover all of that. It's basically like the history of shadow work and things. I more so want to get into the actual exercises, So it talks about sort of the headspace that this sort of work requires of you, right? Like a lot of simultaneous things going on. And one of them is self-compassion, and the other one is knowing how to ground yourself when things go kind of haywire and get kind of spiral-shaped, the ones. The mindset, self-compassion. One of the key aspects of shadow work is self-compassion. When we begin to explore the shadow, it can be challenging to face the parts of ourselves that we reject or hide. It's important to approach shadow work with a non-judgmental attitude and to treat yourself with the same kindness and compassion that you would offer a friend. Please keep that in mind when doing this stuff. Same goes with reading the book that we're covering, Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. That book will help you make realizations about your childhood and about your family that explain why things happen to you, but also it sort of forces you to be like, wow, that truly wasn't my fault. I was the child. As children, we are in that dynamic as a child from a child's perspective because that's all we have and that's all we know. But as an adult, we can look back and realize that the dynamic between a child and a parent, there is a power imbalance there. And parents who are emotionally immature or emotionally inarticulate can manipulate that balance and use it as leverage against you and the things that we'll cover in that book, right? So it's important to acknowledge, wow, that really wasn't my fault. Wow, I'm not a piece of shit for that. Be kind to yourself, damn it. Be kind to yourself. By being kind to yourself with self-compassion, you can create a safe and supportive environment for exploration and growth. Exploration and growth. Self-compassion involves recognizing and accepting our own human limitations, failures, and experiences of suffering, rather than harsh self-criticism and judgment. Full disclosure, y'all. My brain has been kicking my ass this week. I mean, every night. TKO. Waking up in the morning, not much of it feeling too much better. Or like that feeling still sort of looming. Usually a good night's sleep can help me sort of recalibrate and reset. But even this week, it's just been wackadoodle off the charts, uncontrollable on my end, like impossible to regulate. Just because of the severity and the magnitude of what I'm feeling. And all of my thoughts are spiral shaped. And the rejection sensitive dysphoria is dysphoria-ing. And I'm perceiving inconsequential things as like interpersonal relationship shattering events. Like, I have to manually override my brain with almost everything this week. And it's fucking annoying for starters. Enough. I wish this were my brain so I could calm down, please. I've had to manually override and, intake a bunch of cannabis and cuddle the cats extra. But it's fucking hard. It's hard. So, that being my mindset this week, I was kind of nervous to do tonight's stream. Like, I'm already sort of lingering in the fog. Like, do I want to stay here? But, like, when I'm by myself, it's hard for me to find my way out. But if I'm with y'all or if I'm talking to y'all and we're here together and talking through this together, it can be just as helpful and just as beneficial for me as it can be for y'all. So I just want you to know that, like, y'all are helping me as much as some of you might think that I'm helping you, and you let me know, and I immensely appreciate you. I need y'all to know that y'all are helping me just as much. Like, more than I can even express to you in language. So, I'm not gonna cry. Stop. Okay, so we've got the self-compassion, right? Be fucking kind to yourself. If that's... Nugget said, done. If you can't be kind to yourself, then literally be like, okay, I am not me. I am a friend who I really care about. I am someone I think of highly and fondly and don't want them to berate themselves. Like, that's how I had to essentially trick myself into self-compassion, and it's been a while since I've done that freshly, so sometimes it's harder for me to access than other times. And like this week, it's really hard for me to access that self-compassion because the spiral-shaped thoughts are like curly.
You're perfect, you're beautiful, you look like Linda Evangelista, you're a model.
Crystal! What an entrance! Mwah, mwah, mwah. I love you and I thank you for being here. Holy shit. If you would like to enter the giveaway, anyone who's entering, watching, pop in the chat. Make sure you're following me first. Pop in the chat, say I'm in, or giveaway please, or the word giveaway, something that flags your message. And PJ's taking everyone's names down and we'll give it away later in the stream. But okay. Be kind to yourself. I'm going to be saying that a lot tonight. Okay? The importance of grounding. Another important aspect of shadow work is grounding. Shadow work can be intense and emotionally challenging, and it's important to take steps to ensure that you're in a safe and stable state of mind before and after the process. This can include meditation. I have 80 HDs, okay? And they're with me at all times. I cannot meditate. My brain will not shut off. I cannot find the off button. Aside from being tranquilized, I don't think it is possible. I've been unsuccessful. I'll just say that. I don't want to say impossible. I don't want to put that limitation on myself. I just haven't been able to effectively meditate. If y'all are able to do so effectively, please drop your knowledge in the comments below because a bitch needs it. It's me. I'm that bitch. It's important to take steps, yes. Deep breathing or other practices can help you feel centered and grounded. Whenever you need it, flip to the grounding technique page found later in this journal. Okay, so it gives you like a step-by-step grounding guide within the journal. ADHD's nuts. Okay, good to know, baby. Thank you. About everyone who's entered has entered. Excellent. Okay. Grounding is a technique that helps to anchor us in the present moment, to connect with our bodies, and to find stability and balance in a chaotic world. Grounding is about being fully present in the moment and in our bodies. It helps to reduce stress and anxiety by bringing us out of our heads and into the present moment. 90% of my life, I'm living from the chin up. My body is just for transporting my brain from room to room. You know, I live within the confines of my within the confines of my cranium. So, shout out if you can relate. Grounding can also help to increase focus and concentration. That can definitely be true. That's definitely helped me before. It's definitely not a perfect system, but it's better than nothing. It's better than just aimlessly floating with these thoughts. Okay. So to ground yourself after this stream especially, you know, we'll be sure to take a break and remember these things, okay? Here are a few ways to easily ground yourself. 1, simple recognition. Recognize common humanity. Remember that everyone experiences setbacks, failures, and moments of suffering. You are not alone, and your experiences are a normal part of the human experience. No matter what your upbringing has made you believe, no matter what your surroundings or your environment has led you to believe, no matter what societal pressure or the hellscape of capitalism has you believe, you're not a piece of shit for like feeling human emotion. I didn't know that until I was in my fucking late 20s. Number 2, self-care. Engage in activities that bring you joy, relaxation, and a sense of well-being. This can include things like exercise, hobbies, spending time with loved ones, and getting enough sleep. The sleep one, though, heavy on that. Heavy on the sleep thing. Affirmations. Using positive affirmations can help reduce stress and increase feelings of well-being. I used to look myself in the mirror and just say nice things about myself. Nothing untrue, but nothing like, I used to just say, you know, it's okay. Like, it's okay to be confident in yourself. It's okay to not hate yourself for existing. Like, before I was able to even speak positively to myself, I had to first put down all the hate that I felt and all the resentment that I felt towards myself. Like, you can't go from that to just positive. Like, it took me a while to reach neutrality even. And that started with me being like, you know what? Maybe you're not a piece of shit that deserves to rot. Think on that for a few days and then get back with me. Like, it was such a painstakingly slow process, but I'm not about that toxic positivity shit. I'm about doing shit out of spite. I am breathing in and out of spite right now, believe it or not. Sensory stimulation.
It's actually quite impressive.
It's actually quite impressive.
I was like, it's just gonna be a stupid
The
joke.
way she can spitefully breathe like that. Okay. Sensory stimulation. I know that well. Engaging our senses through activities such as walking in nature, smelling essential oils, eating a nourishing meal can help bring us into the present moment. And deep breathing, of course. My asthma's been having me do that without me even wanting to lately, so
Unconsensual.
slow, deep, deliberate breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Yes. Okay, now we're getting into the actual, what does your shadow self look like? How does your shadow self, like, what are ways that you can interact with your own mind and your own thoughts to recognize when your shadow self is kind of steering the boat, so to say? But first, let me catch up on the chat a little bit. Yes, guided meditation. I need to try that. I actually took Alexander Technique in college when I studied music, and Alexander Technique was a lot to do with like the mind-body connection and unlearning shitty posture. Like posture, and by shitty posture, I mean undue stress and tension in the body that, like, some people hold it in their shoulders. I hold mine in my neck. Like, when I'm like stressed or pissed, like, I'm instantly like turtle. So we did a lot of guided meditations at the end of class where we would just all lay on the floor with our eyes closed, and our teacher, with a very gentle English accent, she like softly and delicately like guided us through a meditation. And oh my God, it was I had to like slap myself in the face to drive home. It was very effective, and I was very like, okay, I'm ready to be done for the day now. Good night. Okay. Now we're getting into the chat, Tatum. Finish your thought. Crystal, there's a lot of early witchy lessons, yes, that involve meditation and affirmations. Yes. I've had to get real used to saying shit like, I am confident, I am worthy, I am amazing, even when I don't believe it. That is, yes. That's exactly it. Like, and if that's too tall of an order for some of you who are like, my God, I can't say that to myself and like believe it at the same time, you know, then approach neutrality first. Like, it's also okay if you don't believe it yet, or if you don't think it in the moment. Like, it's okay. That doesn't mean you're failing the exercise. If you say all these self-affirmations and it feels kind of weird coming out of your mouth, and it feels, or if you're writing it or typing it, but you just got to keep doing it. Like, I don't want to say every day, but like, if you think of it, do it. If it happens multiple times a day, if it pops up in your mind, be like, hey, by the way, you're doing great. By the way, you're doing your best. And if your best is only 20%, then that is your best, and that is okay. Like, people who tend to conflate their human worth with their level of productiveness cannot fathom that. And I'm speaking from experience. Like, I still hold on to vestiges of self-shame for being unable to work a public job, because we're surrounded by rise and grind culture, hustle culture, girl boss culture, you know, be the first one to arrive at work and the last one to leave. Like, it's so fucking oversaturated. Everything is always reminding us of things that we could be doing and we're not doing and we should be doing. Fuck should. Fuck it. Fuck it. For those of you new to the potato stream, we are vehemently against the capital system, capitalized S. So that's going to come into play during a lot of this stuff, at least for me personally. So here is how to spot your shadow self. Spotting your shadow self often begins with noticing your triggers, recognizing patterns in your behavior and life experiences, and understanding your projections. Noticing your triggers. Triggers are emotional responses that are often intense and seemingly disproportionate to the situation at hand. They're indicators that a part of you, often a shadow aspect, feels threatened. Cash Rock, thank you so much for the follow. Yes, thank you. I'm glad you're here. Let's see. Yes, when you're triggered, it can feel as if you're reacting automatically without a conscious choice. These triggers are valuable clues pointing toward your underlying unresolved issues or shadows. To spot your triggers, take a step back and objectively look at situations that cause you to react intensely. Is there a common theme or factor? It could be a word, an action, a type of person, or even a place that repeatedly causes an emotional upheaval in you. Yes, it can be anything that holds or stores that negative feeling for you. It can be a place. It can be a person. It can be a room in your house. It can be your car. It can be that restaurant. Like, it can be literally anything. Recognizing patterns. Patterns are repetitive behaviors that may not serve you but seem hard to break free from. They often manifest in your relationships, choices, reactions, or habits. These patterns can be a sign of a shadow self that's trying to make its presence felt. Recognizing these patterns involves self-reflection. Consider the common threads in your past experiences, relationships, and reactions. Are you repeatedly drawn to similar types of relationships or situations, only to experience the same outcomes? I was for 28 years. Do you often react in the same way even when you wish you didn't? Yes, sometimes I do, depending on the thing. Some of it's harder to overcome than others. It doesn't mean that we're pieces of shit, because we're not. Remember that. These repetitive patterns might indicate areas where shadow work could be beneficial. Understanding projections. Projections are aspects of ourselves that we unconsciously place onto others. These can be qualities that we both admire and detest. When we have a strong emotional reaction to someone else's behavior or qualities, it often signifies a disowned part of ourselves, a shadow aspect. To understand your projections, consider the characteristics in others that you find extremely irritating, or conversely, overly admire. Then ask yourself if these traits could be parts of yourself that you've disowned or idealized. And it has 2 more points here that are really interesting. Pay attention to dreams. Your dreams are a rich source of symbolism and unconscious vault. Try to recall and record your dreams upon waking up. Analyze the symbols, emotions, and themes present in your dreams. They can provide valuable insights into your shadows, fears, desires, and unexpressed parts of yourself. Man, don't tell me that shit. My dreams are cinematic and high stakes, and they usually involve whatever video game I'm playing at the time. And I don't mean just, oh, we're playing. Like, swapping the weapons in Fortnite is like canon in my dreams. Like, make it make sense. Okay, and lastly, explore childhood and past experiences. Reflect on your childhood, family dynamics, and significant life events. Identify any unresolved issues, traumas, or unmet needs that might have contributed to the development of your shadows. Exploring these experiences with compassion and curiosity can lead to profound healing and integration. Yes. Okay. So here we go. These are some, it just has a list of emotional triggers. And it spells it out really well. So I just want to go over that part as well. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. Okay. First, shame. Shame is the parrot on my shoulder that won't shut the fuck up. How about y'all? Shame is an intense emotion that arises when you believe there's something fundamentally wrong with who you are. Excuse me. It is a deeply painful and isolating experience that can stem from feeling unworthy, inadequate, or humiliated. Shame can manifest as a heavy burden that weighs us down, making us feel small and undeserving of love and acceptance. But that's not true. Be kind to yourself. It often arises from societal expectations, like with the fucking capitalism thing, right? I can't work, so I must be a piece of shit. Like, that's not how it works, Tatum. No matter what corporations want you to believe. Societal expectations, past traumas, or internalized beliefs. Overcoming shame requires compassion, self-acceptance, and a recognition of our inherent worthiness as human beings. Hot take. You shouldn't have to sell hours of your life in order to exist on this planet. The amount of hours that you work a week has fuck all to do with your worth as a human being. Your worth as a human being is not the same as monetary worth. That is a currency that we made up. And it only has value because we all collectively play along and decide that it has value. But you can't take it with you, bitch. Shame. Okay, we finished that one. Next is guilt. Guilt arises when we believe we have done something wrong or violated our own moral code. It's a form of self-condemnation and blame mixed with a sense of regret. Guilt can be a constructive emotion because it reveals your values and helps you learn from mistakes. It signals a need for accountability and encourages us to make amends or change our behavior. I feel like with these definitions, of course nothing's like set in stone, but like I feel like I get guilt and shame mixed up. Like, I used to feel guilty for aspects of myself that I couldn't control, but I'm now realizing that that probably actually was just shame, and not just shame, but it was shame instead of guilt, because guilt isn't like, it doesn't like attack at the nucleus the way that shame does. You know what I mean? Like, shame can get like molecular. It's like there is something fundamentally wrong with who you are, like down to your soul fibers. Like, that's at least how my shame manifests or can manifest. But yeah, that's just really interesting to make that distinction. Okay, anger. Anger is a powerful and complex emotion that spurs in response to perceived threats, injustice, or frustration. It could range from mild to intense and can manifest as a physical and emotional response. Anger is a natural and valid emotion that reveals a need for change or boundaries. Boundaries. I didn't have any for 28 years, and now, bitch, I'm making up for lost time. That's why I purchased a gavel. It's my boundary gavel. I need to use it in real life more. I want to start taking it to the grocery store with me. Just kidding. I don't go to the grocery store because it makes me want to die. The post office. I'll take it there. I'm sure they'll love it. Anger is a natural, okay, yes. Uncontrolled or excessive anger can lead to destructive behavior and harm to oneself and others. But anger in and of itself is not bad. It's not negative. It's normal. Hot take, especially AFAB folks, femme presenting folks, people, or anyone who gets tone policed all the fucking time. Marginalized communities, the black and brown community, anyone who's essentially not a cishet white man who gets tone policed more often than cishet white men do. Your anger in response to, for instance, the oppressive environment that you may be in or the treatment that you may be receiving from others is valid. Like, you're allowed to be angry when things anger you. You don't have to, like, it doesn't have to roll off your back every single time. Like, you're allowed to be angry. I just want to make sure that everyone knows that. You're allowed to feel that emotion. There's nothing wrong with feeling that emotion. But like it says here, if it starts to become detrimental to your physical health, your psychological health, or the health of those around you, then that's definitely when it needs to be addressed. Not with a Band-Aid, but you need to find the root of it. And like, I used to think that I had anger problems because in Appalachia, mental health is a fucking myth. And if girl anything but happy or cry, it mad. But I as an adult, I've learned so many effective adjectives that describe my emotions more accurately than just mad. Overwhelmed, overloaded, stressed, fearful, agitated, frustrated, defeated, like exhausted. All of those used to be lumped together into angry, and then it became my fault for feeling like that. And that's gross. Quite frankly, it's gross. And it's maddening to think about. Oh, it makes me angry to think about how many times I was dismissed. How many times my emotions were invalidated by others because they didn't know what to do with me. They didn't know what to do with a human expressing human emotion in front of them. Like, wait upon your discomfort off onto kids. Like, come on now. I'm just thinking about, like, authority figures from, like, my childhood and my young adulthood, like teachers and bosses and, you know, just people who shouldn't be in those positions of power because they manipulate it and make things your fault that are not your fault. At work, school, home, it happens fucking everywhere, right? Okay. So we did anger. Next is sadness. Sadness is a deep, poignant emotion that arises in response to loss, disappointment, or unfulfilled desires. Sadness can be triggered by a variety of experiences, such as the loss of a loved one, the end of a relationship, or unmet expectations. It is a natural and necessary part of the human experience. Yes, all of these are. All of these are. Embarrassment. This emotion stems from feeling self-conscious, awkward, or humiliated in social situations. It often happens when you think you have violated social norms. Ongoing embarrassment can lead to feeling shame and a desire to hide. Oof. Oof. Anybody else been low-key embarrassed by their existence for their whole life and then was later found out to just be autistic and it's okay? It often happens when you think you have violated social norms. My existence is a violation of social norms. Are you kidding? Things do not make sense to me that people do. The whole keeping up with the Joneses charade and the house, car, baby, job pipeline has never fit me. And I didn't know that that was okay until like very recently, because we were all like born to fit into that pipeline, and those who fit into it, I wish them nothing but the best, and I'm in awe of them that they were able to do it in any capacity, because my ass absolutely not. Owning a house? That's hilarious. That's a fucking pipe dream. So much undue embarrassment for things, again, that aren't our fault. If you can't afford what you think that your peers might be affording with their belongings or their material possessions, it's not a reflection of who you are as a human being. It's not. It's not. I just want everyone to know that. Because social media does a really good job at making us feel like shit about ourselves if we look for too long. That's why I left Instagram. That and many other reasons. Okay, so that was embarrassment. Jealousy. Jealousy is a cover-up emotion. It masks itself as anger or judgment, when underneath it's more like sadness and dissatisfaction of self. It can lead you to compare yourself to others and protect what you have. Yeah, that shit hurted. Regret. Okay, we done?
Nope.
With the burping?
Nope.
No, I swallowed it. It's done.
Oh.
Regret occurs when you feel sadness over past actions or decisions. The truth is that most people regret what they did not do more than they regret what they did do. I'm going to read that again for those keeping score at home. This is a very important sentence. Most people regret what they did not do more than they regret what they did do. I'm instantly like transported to this commencement speech that Jim Carrey did a few years ago. It's been probably a decade or so now. And I don't know any current Jim Carrey news, okay? I'm not saying I endorse 2023 Jim Carrey. I don't know. I'm just talking about a speech he gave at a commencement. Please don't come for me. I'll have to Google him at a BRB and make sure it's okay to talk about him. But I'm more so trying to get to the message of what he was saying. Like, time is going to pass regardless. So if you have ideas that no one else around you seems to have, well, everyone does, right? Your perspective is unique. Like, we all joke when we're all like talking about our lives. It's like, man, have I had an original experience in my life? Just because the experience isn't an original experience doesn't mean that your perspective is not original and unique, because it absolutely is. Your perspective is valuable and it deserves to be heard. That being said, time is going to pass anyway. If you want to write or paint or start streaming or start your own business or go back to school or apply for that job, apply for that internship, Whether you do it or not, the same amount of time is going to pass in both timelines. The timeline in which you do it and the timeline in which you don't. And the timeline in which you do it can result in, of course, failure. It can result in rejection. It can result in misdirection. It can result in redirection. Or it can result in success. And it can result in... Is flourishment a word? I know nourishment is. My brain wants to say flourishment, so we're saying it, damn it. You don't know what you don't know. And if the same amount of time is going to pass, this isn't a just do it type of thing, because executive dysfunction is a thing that exists, right? It's more like, what do they say on Drag Race? You need to kill your inner saboteur, your inner imposter syndrome, your inner, who the fuck am I to post about this? Who the fuck am I to apply for that job? Who the fuck am I to go for that thing? You deserve to go for it, apply for that job, do that thing just as much as anyone else. So the same amount of time is going to pass anyway. And in the timeline that you don't do it, you don't know what didn't happen. Because it didn't happen. But in the other timeline, a lot of shit happened because you started doing the thing. If that makes sense, great. If it doesn't, then you're with me. It makes sense, I think. We'll watch on the playback. Okay. Fear. This is the last one. Fear is a primal and powerful emotion that arises in response to perceived threats or dangers. It triggers a domino of physiological and emotional responses to keep you safe. Fear can serve as a protective mechanism, but irrational fear can limit our experiences and growth. Overcoming fear involves understanding its root causes, challenging irrational beliefs, and gradually exposing yourself to feared situations in a safe and supportive manner. Yeah, that's scary. Yeah. Just thinking about the shit rattling around in my head this week, all the spiraled shaped thoughts. Most of them are centered in fear. Fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of ambivalence. I feel like I have some pretty serious abandonment wounds. We're going to see. Okay. Oh my gosh. I love licking my fingers before every single page. That doesn't make me feel strange at all. Now, there's really no context on it on these 2 pages. It just, it lists out 2 lists, of lists when lists are listing. I'm just going to read it. I'm sure we'll get more into context, but unconscious versus conscious, right? So my autistic ass wishes that there were like footnotes, but things that are unconscious. I wonder if unconscious and subconscious can be used interchangeably here. I don't know. Just thinking out loud. But anyway, unconscious. Habits and patterns. Emotions. Protection. Protection? Protection of self. Yeah, like if you're afraid, you want to protect what you are afraid of happening to you. Sure. That's sort of like a... Controls bodily functions. Your belief. Your desires. Blaming, denying, lying, attachment to things, thoughts, and feelings. I just slapped the microphone with the page, so sorry if that was loud. Conscious. I'm seeing if these are opposites of each other, but they're not evenly numbered. No. Conscious, we have logic, filter, analytical, movement, decision-making, short-term memory, willpower, and critical thinking. I just have so many more questions about this list. We've got to get into that. Okay. So, we've hit the hour and 10 mark. So, before we get into this next little bit here, I am going to take a quick BRB. During the BRB, last chance to enter the giveaway. If you haven't, just pop in the chat and say the word giveaway, say the words I'm in, or I want that journal, bitch, just something to that effect. And Pidge is going to keep track and draw a winner at random later in the stream. Pidge, you already have the journal. We live together. Okay, y'all. Be right back. Okay. We are back. So, before we get into the next little section here, that's what it was. Yes. But I hear it. I physically hear it. I just don't know why it's not coming through in stream.
It might have just been like, oh, OBS would need to be restarted. For it to come back
OBS
up
needs to
again.
be restarted because
Yeah,
it's
OBS loves
a
that.
whiny little biatch. Yeah.
Loves being restarted.
OBS loves being restarted. OBS loves breaking for no reason. But anyway, y'all, we're announcing the winner of the giveaway right now. We should, Waba. Help me. Okay.
Try it, you ignorant slut!
The winner of the Zenful Note Shadow Work Journal, based on a random pickin' dice thing that PJ used. The winner is Agent Whiskey Danger. Wah, 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 wah. Pop it in the screen, baby. Whiskey. Dinner. Congratulations, Whiskey. I'm going to send you this. I might send you a free art print, too, if you're cool with that. Hi, Jess. Welcome in. I don't know if you like art, but I just sent a bunch of prints off to a friend, and I would love to send you one, too. And maybe a magnet or something. PJ hates art. That's why his life partner is an artist. /S. Congratulations, Whiskey. I will DM you tonight after stream. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad. Okay, I'm going to send you an art print. I'll DM you and get your info, and I'll get this shipped out to you next week, my darling. Congratulations. Callerin, thank you so much for being here. Please, yes. Self-care, self-care, self-care. All the care. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy your night. Get some peaceful rest. Okay, y'all. We're diving into wounds, okay? We're diving into ouchies. Get your cortisone and your bandages and your
Gauze.
isopropyl alcohol spray ready.
I've got to go open that window in the fridge.
Yeah, sure. PJ's going to go open some windows.
Nearly 1,400 in here.
Yeah, we're keeping a good eye on the CO2 levels. And this place has shitty ventilation. It's shitty. Okay, here we go. Wound mapping. When I first heard about wound mapping, and it was like related to like inner child, inner teenager, it really, for me, ties into the other book, right? Decades old wounds as an adult child of emotionally immature parents, going through that book about it. It's just, it all is tied in, y'all, I swear. Okay. So, to identify your inner child wound, examine the attributes listed on the following page, and we'll go through the 4 kinds of wounds that it has listed here. The 4 main types of inner child wounds are abandonment, guilt, trust, and neglect. And it's possible that one or more of these may resonate with your personal experience. I can already tell you right now it's an all 4 for me. Bingo, what do I win? Being hurt or traumatized, especially during childhood, can be deeply painful. This exercise aims to help you identify emotional wounds from your childhood that may still impact you today. These wounds often lead to negative behaviors and thought patterns that do not serve you well. By recognizing and understanding your inner child wound or wounds, you can cultivate a greater sense of self-compassion and lay the foundation for a successful shadow work journey. Okay. We've got our 4 types of wounds. First, let's cover the abandonment wound. Feels left out. Fears being left. Hates being alone. Codependent. Threatens to leave. Normally attracts emotionally unavailable people.
He needs some milk.
Yes, absolutely. let me do that in the, yeah, while we digest that oof, I'm just going to pin it to the book again. Send you another link. Bitch, I can't even type. Oh my god. That Titanic flute scrambled my brain.
Jesus. Gross.
Oh, there's Buttsbot. Yes, thank you for the reminder, Waba. I forgot to pin it until the end of stream. Oh, it does it for 20 minutes.
Sorry, yeah.
Boo, boo. There's the link for the journals, and they have more than just the shadow work journals. There's my affiliate link. Use code POTATUM spelled out for 15% off your order. Bonk. Okay. That's an oof for me. Definitely, this wound is definitely very present. Even as an adult. Of course, it was more heavily present in childhood for me. The, like, feeling left out, especially as an undiscovered autistic person, like, always being the one with one foot out of the circle, not by my own design or my own want. Like, that's just where I landed, like, organically in friend groups, like, my whole life. Like, if there was a friend group of 5 and they were going somewhere where only 4 people were allowed to go, or only 4 people were allowed to do something or whatever, I would always be the one who, nope, don't invite her. And of course, retroactively, I understand that me masking my autism in order to survive and not get my ass beat at school and at home meant that I was just trying so hard to be anybody but me because my environment didn't allow me to be me. And people can sniff that out. Your childhood peers can sniff that out. Mine did. Even if they didn't know that they couldn't put their finger on it, you know? They could tell that it's like they could tell more than I could tell that I wasn't being myself. I honestly thought that everyone was doing the same thing I was doing. I thought everyone struggled internally at the same magnitude and frequency as me, and I was just really bad at, like, coping with it. But that's not the case. That's not the case. Okay, our next wound is the guilt wound. Excuse. Feels sorry or feels bad. Doesn't like to ask for things. Uses guilt to manipulate. Is afraid to set boundaries. Normally attracts people who make them feel guilty. Oh, yes. The journal I'm reading from tonight is the 2nd edition Shadow Work Journal. The exposure's a little too high on the camera, but it's got the big frame. The original Shadow Journal looks like this. And I'm reading from the 2nd edition, which is quite a bit thicker than this one. But this one has a lot of good stuff in it, too. I was thumbing through it earlier. Usually neurotypicals can sniff out neurodivergent people and they're immediately put off by it. Yes. And I hate, yes, the thicker one is the 2nd edition, Waba. Are we put off because we detest a quality about ourselves that we see in them? Because you still experience that to a degree. Yes, I experience that too. Oh, Spec, you have the original one. Okay, yes. Ingrained internalized ableism is a beast. 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 Yeah, it's a bitch. I still very much late discovered disabled, less than 2 years discovered disabled. More like a year and some change, like a year and 4 months. You know, and I'm working with 30 years of internalized ableism that I didn't even know was ableism. You know? And it's okay to acknowledge that. That's what you're operating from. And it's okay to tell yourself that you're not a piece of shit because you are doing the best with what you had and the information that you had at your disposal. Especially if that ableism is internalized toward yourself, you know? Sometimes I catch myself thinking, wow, they're very autistic, and kind of take a step back and be like, bitch, so are you. Yes. Yeah. I'm like, wow, they're autistic as fuck. I'm like, wait a minute. That me too. Whiskey, I always attract the worst people in the worst situations. In good situations, I seem to attract neutral or good folks. It's weird. Yes. It is kind of crazy to think about how we are experiencing ourselves. Like, we are the universe experiencing itself. We're made of the same star stuff and the same elements. But, like, no one fucking thinks about that more than an autistic person, I think. I feel like so many of us spend time ruminating about the universe and our place in it, and where's our place in the world? The world is not built for us. It's not built for any of us, really, but society expects you to pretend and to go along to get along and suffer in silence, you know? I want to attract fellow autistics, but sometimes we are too much, and it's a negative feedback loop of too much stimulation, and it's my job to set boundaries and expectations, and I'm not perfect at doing that. That's so incredibly valid. Like, sometimes I can interact with someone who is also autistic, whose brain is completely different from mine, because of course it is, autistic or not, that's the case, right? And our neurodivergences don't get along, you know? Like, there's some incompatibility there. There's some, like, sort of automatic overwhelm that exists there. And for me, it's a fine line of, like, it still brings up people pleaser shit and internalized ableism for me. Like, that person's autistic, sure, of course. So am I, sure, of course. But looking past that, how can we get on the same page here somehow? And I tried to, like, dissect it and deconstruct it and try to work around it. And sometimes it's just way too much brain work. More brain work than is needed for all of that. And, like, I just have to tell myself it's okay to not get along with every autistic person. I had that realization recently. Like, meeting another autistic person doesn't make us automatic besties. And I know besties is like whatever it is. It doesn't make us automatically compatible as humans. Like, having the same neurotype doesn't make us automatically accountable. Look at fucking Elon Musk. Okay? He is autistic. And he is also human garbage. Not because he's autistic, but because he's human garbage, you know? And that's a realization that my late discovered autistic ass had to make. That not all autistic people are going to vibe with me, you know? Yes, elongated musky balls. Okay, so next we've got the trust wound. Is afraid to be hurt. Doesn't trust themselves. Still learning, y'all. Finds ways to not trust people. Ouch. We'll get to that. Feels insecure and needs lots of external validation. That was me for decades. That's not gone, but it's like the most manageably low it's ever been, like, in my life, of not needing external validation, not needing it, like, as a requirement. Of course, it's wonderful to receive validation and support, right? But, like, it's not my lifeblood anymore. I'm not like Tinkerbell. I no longer need applause to live, you know? But it is nice. It's nice to receive acknowledgement and recognition for what you're doing. But yeah. So feels insecure, needs a lot of external validation, doesn't feel safe, and normally attracts people who don't feel safe. Isn't that interesting? The self-fulfilling prophecy that these wounds create. Like with the abandonment wound, it said you normally attract emotionally unavailable people, like flippant, ambivalent, flighty even. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. With the guilt wound, normally attracts people who make them feel guilty. It's because you're stuck in that pattern and you're operating from the nucleus of that wound. And you're subconsciously seeking out that pattern because it's familiar to you, not because it's what's best for you. And if you don't know that, then you don't know that. And I wish everyone knew this shit. Think of how different the world would be if everyone knew this shit, you know? And then, of course, the trust wound. In the trust wound, you don't feel safe, but you normally attract people who don't feel safe. And, of course, the neglect wound. The same thing is happening here, so let's get to that. This is me. This is people pleaser me so fucking much. So fucking much. Struggles to let things go. Has low self-worth. Gets angry easily. Struggles to say no. Where are my people pleasers at? Represses emotions. People pleaser. Fears being vulnerable because you're not accepted as your vulnerable human self in your environment. So you're afraid to be vulnerable because you're afraid that no one will catch you when you fall because you've fallen flat on your ass enough times to be afraid of that. Normally attracts people who don't appreciate them or make them feel seen. Yeah, that tracks. That tracks.
How we feeling out there tonight? Yeah, I am not feeling good.
Not feeling good, Bo. Thank you for asking.
Ladies.
Ladies. I have a hair on my nose. Yeah, dude, of course. All four of these I've experienced in various degrees in various situations, but the heavy ones for me are...
I'm a mess.
Yes! I am, Crystal! I have a little of all of those wounds, yes. Absolutely same. Heavy on the abandonment, heavy on the neglect. Heavy on the guilt, heavy on the... okay. Heavy wounds all around. We'll say that. We'll say that. Medic. Okay, so let's do an exercise next. We're going to skip the first one. I'm going to go to the second one here. It's a fill in the blank, but it's more so like... I'm just going to talk about what comes to mind here. And if I cry, I cry. Okay, don't judge me. I know you all won't. But if those who are watching are new, lurkers, listeners now and later, we cry on this stream when we need to cry. It's our nervous system regulating itself, and the longer I hold it in, the worse I fucking feel. And sometimes it's above me. It just comes out. And then I'm like, oh, okay, we're crying. Need a tissue. Like,
You're perfect, you're beautiful, you look like Linda Evangelista, you're a model.
thank you. Everyone is a beautiful model.
We're all Linda Evangelista.
We're all Linda Evangelista. And Linda Evangelista cries too. Cries. Is she still with us?
I think not.
Oh,
I
okay.
guess not.
Okay, sure.
I feel like she's spoken about like
Sure.
one of those young.
Younger model, like back in the day. Sure. Okay. So here is a fill in the blank / open-end discussion. And I'll take it like a couple points at a time. I'll just talk. How about that? Of course, get your own journals, inflonote.com/potatum spelled out. Code potatum for 15% off your own journal. You can mark it up in pencil, pen, crayon, marker, lipstick, lip liner, whatever you want. I think I'm going to leave mine blank and type out my feelings because there are not enough pages in this book for the words that rattle around in my brain all day, unfortunately. But as a child, I was told not to blank. It's weird that this is the first one that came up. But as a child, I was told not to allow strangers to touch me, which is great, right? Learning bodily autonomy young. Like, my mom, like, taught me a saying, like, if someone touches you, like, we're out in public or whatever, you know, of course, the stranger danger, but also she taught me to say, no, this is my body and no one else's. So from a young age, I knew that.
Oh, Jesus. Gross.
Yeah, exactly. I knew that, but I'll wait.
Sorry, baby.
You're fine. Paige is just ripping fatties back there.
It's my first one.
It's his first one ever. He's never smoked before. Okay. But I was taught, you know, this is my body and no one else's. To say those words. I never had to implement it on a stranger. And I've never had to, like, thankfully, like, as a kid, you know, that never happened. But I was taught that while simultaneously being taught at home that if I do anything that's not in line with what my parents say, I am subject to physical punishment that I have to endure, and I have to look past it, and I have to love them unconditionally past the corporal punishment that I would face at home. You know? So that was a weird first one that popped up. As a child, I was told not to let strangers touch me or hurt me or endure abuse from anyone, asterisk, except your family. And because of that, my dating life minus Pidge, because Pidge broke the pattern, broke the mold. Pidge, we are actively helping each other, like, be the cycle breakers in our family. Like, aside from him, I was always attracted to and, like, defaulted to abusers. Abusive people. So that's fun and exciting. As a child, I was told not to talk back. Which, of course, I see talk back as, like, you know, go take a bath. Fuck you, dumbass, I'm not going to take a bath. Like, that's back talk. But in my house and at my school, back talk was asking a clarifying question because I'm autistic and unsure and need clarification on something. Getting finger wag yelled at age 12 by a teacher for back talking when I was asking a clarifying question. Shout out Miss Music. Like, I was told not to be too loud, not to be a distraction to other people, like, with my moving around, like, you know, just completely stifling an undiscovered ADHDer and essentially put a cork in it. I was not allowed to exist as my full self with full spectrum of emotion and full spectrum of existence. Period. Boomers hate a clarifying question. Yes! Boom. Okay. Now listen, okay, I've been called ageist, I've been called bigoted for talking about baby boomers. I'm not speaking about boomers at large. There's an amazing amount of baby boomers out there who give a shit about other people. I've just never met one. And with my lifetime experience of baby boomer parents, as a millennial, I'm essentially Gen X light, you know? So when I say boomers, I mean boomers from my own life and my own experience. I'm not speaking for the whole... You get it. It's not personal. I just want to know what the answer is. Also, when you're a kid, why is the answer always because I said so?
Because they don't want to answer. Because they can't answer.
What kind of answer is because I said so? I'm sorry, are you an omnipotent god? Are you a deity walking among person kind? Because you said so, Thunderclap. Okay, Zeus, like, that's not an answer. That's essentially a put a cork in it, bitch. That's essentially a shut the hell up, you know? Fuck. So annoying. Also, the fan moved the page back. Okay.
It's a bad spot over there.
Yeah. As a child, I was told not to. Okay. This made me very blank. Oh my god. How loaded could that possibly be? Okay, well, we already talked about it in some capacity. Being told not to let strangers touch me, hurt me, or abuse me, but enduring it at home and being expected to love them past it and not hold it against them made me very susceptible to seeking that pattern out in friendships and in romantic partners. It made me very... It made me, like, deliberately stifle myself. It bred a distrust in myself and in my own perception of reality. And to someone if you've never experienced gaslighting firsthand by a loved one, by a family member, by a friend, by a partner, by a boss, by anyone, then there are only so many words that I could say, and none of them are good enough, damn it. But, like, being told that your perception is objectively incorrect, even though you are plainly stating what you just witnessed or what you just experienced, breeds a distrust in yourself that sticks with you even when you're alone. You don't have to have it in your ear in order to not trust yourself. That distrust can ring in your head. Like, it just made me very much a people pleaser. And so did being told not to ask questions, not to backtalk. That led me to be entirely self-taught. It led me to put the onus on myself to figure it the fuck out because, you know, they're always like, raise your hand if you need help. And I'm like, why are we doing it like this? Can't we do it like this? Thunderclap. I get smoked, right? That made me realize that no one's going to fucking help me. That my questions aren't important. And that if I already feel like I know the answer, it sort of led me to, like, see what I could get away with in terms of doing things differently enough that made sense to me, but that also fit into what we were doing. Like
they thought you didn't want to do it at all?
Yes. When I was asking them questions, they thought that it was because I didn't want to do it. It's like, well, why do we have to do this? I don't want to do a worksheet. I'm like, no, actually, this worksheet's from this version of this book, and I can't quite find the answer in the version of this history book from this year. This worksheet is from last year's history book, and it's not the same in here. I was wondering if that answer would be okay. Don't backtalk, Tatum. Get your work done. Just do the work. Have you not been paying attention in class? Good night, Waba. Thank you so much for hanging, my beautiful friend. Sleep some good. Sleep some good. Butt, please. Sleep well, Buttba. Buttba. My God. I'm just fucking... All the memories that are being revved up are exhausting me. I feel like things would be different if... blank. I'm assuming this means... I feel like things would be different now, currently as an adult, if a lot of things, if I wasn't abused in my home, if I knew that I was autistic and knew that I had ADHD, if I was afforded patience and compassion instead of dismissal and invalidation, everything would be different. I had to learn this shit myself. I'm having to retroactively erase and unlearn 30 years of bullshit that I faked it until I made it. I duct taped and safety pinned together my surroundings, my environment, my persona, my life as best as I could with the tools that I had, not knowing that I was fucking disabled. Like, everything would be fucking different, man. Everything. I wish I could tell my child self blank. Every time I think about my child self, it's really painful. Because I know how hard things were for me when I was that age. Because I fucking lived it, right? For starters, I would tell her, sis, listen. Do not waste your precious time and energy on trying to be the same as the popular girls in your class. Dressing like them, listening to the same music they do, watching the same movies, acting like them, talking like them, essentially being a chameleon because you weren't making connections that seemed to be so easy for everyone else. Don't waste your precious time trying to be anybody but yourself. I am so sorry that you grew up in Podunk, Virginia. I am so sorry that statistically the people around you fucking sucked. And that's not a geographical thing because bigots are everywhere and good people are everywhere. But just like the exact location and the exact time frame and the exact people in my life were not conducive to my authenticity in any way. And it's okay. Because the people that you're surrounded with right now in this elementary school, in this middle school, in this high school are not the determining factor on the quality of your life. Just because you don't fit in your physical surroundings where you are right now, which school is just, okay, you were born here, what's the first big building that has classes? That's the school you go to. Like, it's literally... Like, it's kind of, to a certain point, up to chance, right? Like, that has no bearing on your reality that you're not a fucking loser. You're not too much. And the right people are out there who already love you for who you are. And all you have to do is show up. And one day when you're older, you're going to realize that. And you're just going to put down all the shit that you've been carrying your whole life that you thought you had to be. And you're just going to show up as yourself. And you're going to start making connections with people so much easier. And it's going to feel like a fucking trick. It's going to feel like a big bamboozle. It's going to be like, huh? Wait, this is the first time I'm not trying. Like, I don't have to try around you and you actually like me and want to talk to me. Like, it was very that. But yeah, hang the fuck in there. You have ADHD, sis. You're not a piece of shit because you can't keep a clean car. You're not a piece of shit because you hate dusting and doing dishes. You're not a piece of shit because your brain literally cannot process information if it is objectively boring and dry and dull to you. Your brain will literally change the channel, and you cannot do anything about it. You are not a piece of shit. You are neurodivergent. That's what I would tell her. And I gotta read what y'all said, because y'all have had some good ones. If I didn't have to, yes. Things would be different if they acted like I was my own person and not a copy of them. Yes, like we've talked about in past streams. Parents who have children just to do copy-paste. Not realizing that children are autonomous beings with agency and brains and lives just as complex as yours. Hot take to all the boomers out there. Things would be different if I didn't have to account for my parents' emotions for survival. Heavy on that one, Crystal. Heavy on that one. If my quality of happiness was not contingent upon my parents being in a good mood, I would have been able to get to know myself a lot more. My environment led me to not know myself. I wasn't safe to do so. It was not safe for me to exist as myself, bring my full self to the table, my full spectrum of emotions, my full questions and quandaries, my full human self. I've been too much for a lot of people my whole life. But I'm not too much for the right people. And that's important too. You're not too much. If people around you make you feel like you're too much, it's not a you problem. It's a them problem. And I wish I'd known that fucking 20 years ago. You were right. That's what I would tell my child self. I wish I could tell young me I didn't have to be a man. Champy, absolutely. Oh my God. Welcome in, by the way, lovely. Yes, think of all the time, all the years, all the pain, all the internalized shame and hatred that we could have avoided if we were allowed to exist as ourselves. It's also objectively worse in red states for any marginalized identity. Abso-fucking-lutely, Crystal. Dead on with that shit. Like, it's true. It's true. A friend of mine recently had to flee their state because they have a trans child. And they fled to a safer state so that their child could exist safely. Like, this shit is fucking real. The state that they lived in was blood red. I loved Queen in middle school and high school and got so bullied for that.
Yeah. What? Yeah, I read that and was like, that is so strange.
Imagine getting bullied for being a fan of one of the most objectively talented vocalists of all time.
Right. Everyone in the band is talented.
Everyone in the band, of course.
Sure.
But like, Freddie is like...
You're right. Like, he's another tier of musician.
Ungodly.
You know.
Now all the girls who used to make fun of me are acting like, oh my God, one of my faves to their kids for cool points. But when I bust out some deep lore, their kids are like, dang, Mom, you're a poser. It's kind of satisfying. Yeah, dude. Oh my God. Bandwagon Queen fans be like... Bandwagon Queen fans don't even know the true length of Bohemian Rhapsody because I've only listened to it on the radio. When I was a kid, I lived for Shark Week every year on Discovery Channel. And if you don't know what Shark Week is, every year for like a week, the Discovery Channel, which is like Animals, Science, Planet, that kind of thing. It's different now, but in the 90s, it was more instructional and like informational about animals, would do documentaries on sharks and specials on sharks and the megalodon and like the great white, and I always loved that shit. Loved learning about it. Definitely one of my special interests as a young autistic kid, and I would get reamed for it at school. Like, dork, nerd, geek. What a loser. Who gives a crap about Shark Week? And now all those same girlies are like, oh my god, I can't wait to watch Shark Week this year.
I was the odd one out because I didn't care about Shark Week in Florida.
Yeah, PJ said he was the odd one out because he didn't care about Shark Week, but he lived in Florida, so. Everybody's got to care about Shark Week in Florida. In Florida, every week is Shark Week. The state is a finger poking out and surrounded by water.
Into the Sharkland.
Into Sharkland, USA. So yeah, listen. I'm an OG Shark Week fan. Since like 99. So please spare me. Spare me. Yes, Discovery and TLC. Yes, TLC was my shit for a while there, but then it got
Woo!
weird.
It's problematic.
Problematic, yes. It's a problem. Okay. Here's the last fill in the blank on this exercise. So we just did the I wish I could tell my child self blank. I am so grateful for blank, but wish my guardians would have blank. My parents were never ones to like hang my existence over my head, you know, or hold my existence against me. They were never ones to be like, all the sacrifices I make for you, like, and I know that a lot of parents are like that. So I am thankful that they did what they could given their financial situation, which was rough. Always has been. That's what I learned. You know, financial literacy should be taught in school, but it's not taught for a reason. But I think it's bullshit. I'm grateful that they did what they had to do and made the changes that they had to make and the sacrifices that they had to make in order to keep me fed, keep me housed, keep me clothed, keep me bathed, keep me learned in school. You know, look after me when I'm sick. I am grateful for those things. I am not ungrateful for pointing out that those things are required by law. That you will go to jail if you cannot keep your child alive and fed and clothed and bathed and schooled and housed. Like, it's punishable. It's like objectively. But I know that there are parents out there who hold that over their kid's head like their kid had a fucking say in the matter. Like, yeah, Mom, I'd like to show up on my exact birth date, please. See you there. That's not how it works. I am so grateful for I just wish that my brain could think of more things beside the things that were required. And me pointing that out isn't me taking away from the hard work that my parents did and my guardians did. But also, like, there were so many of my needs that were never, ever met. And there were so many accommodations that I needed that weren't afforded to me. Not because of lack of money, but because of lack of understanding and compassion and empathy, I don't know.
Call me crazy.
I'm so grateful for my family keeping me alive. But I wish my guardians would have let me exist as myself. Let me be inquisitive about things. It's not like I'm expecting you to have all the answers, but I just don't want to be yelled at and or hit for asking questions. It would have been awesome if my guardians would have met me halfway emotionally. It'd be super awesome and magnificent if they didn't put a bunch of undue pressure on me as a kid to solve adult-sized problems because oldest daughter, you know? Let me read some of these. Alice said, I used to get bullied for liking this band called Sigur Rós. I don't know if I'm butchering that. And today they're the most popular and well-known Icelandic band. There you fucking go, Champy. There you go. You were the OG fan. Never forget that. Never forget that. I'm grateful for the private schooling, but the inconsistency was not the vibe. Yeah. The inconsistency. That shit's real. Inconsistency, in my case, paired with internalized guilt and shame and made to feel like it was my fault, you know? It's harder to say something specifically when it comes to childhood because there's so much bad and most memories are bad. Yeah. It's hard. It's so hard. I'm so grateful for my family caring about me, but I wish they'd accepted me as I was instead of trying to shape me into what they wanted. Yes. Like, as a kid, I was taken to church every Sunday morning, Southern Baptist. If you know, you know. Just not it. That's also not the vibe. But as I got older, I got to decide for myself if I wanted to keep going, and I just, I fell off. I just stopped going to church. In college, I was in a couple of church choirs because they gave me a small scholarship every semester. And I was like the section leader and member of a church choir here and there. But I don't practice organized religion. I don't identify as Christian. If I have to identify as anything in that regard, it would be probably agnostic. And even that word is a little too stamped solid for me. Like, why can't it just be fluid, I don't know what the word is for what I am, but I am it, But like, just because I wasn't dragged to church all through my teenage years, and I wasn't guilted for not going to church as an adult, and one of my parents even brought that up to me before. Like, they believe in like the Christian God and are identify themselves as Christian, but they told me that they never pushed that onto me and never made me believe that, which is accurate to a point, but like, what's the point in saying that? Like, why are you making that sound like it's an exception with Christians? Like, I wasn't one of those that pushed it onto you like all the others. Like, that sounds like the second half of that sentence to me. But also, just because you didn't overtly guilt or pressure me into being a Christian doesn't mean that you weren't operating from the mentality of like Old Testament Christianity. Bigotry, doesn't have to be overt and obvious and blatant in order for it to be considered as such. It exists in so many ways, and it's so nuanced, and it appears in so many different ways, and there are tells, like the language that you use to describe people of certain genders, people of certain races, people of certain sexual orientations. They might not be slurs, but you're framing their existence in a way that is stereotypical and harmful. But I didn't force you to go to church. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Fuck. I could sit here on like 30 different days and come up with 30 different fleshed out answers to these 5 or 6 blanks. But those are just the ones that popped up in tonight's stream, tonight's headspace. But we've got a few reflection questions on the next page here about these questions and about what we discussed. Let's catch up on some chat real quick. Raised Catholic by Protestant parents, and they were shocked when in my 20s I almost converted to Judaism. Like, brah, mamma mia. Southern Baptist? Yes, Crystal. Yep. Yep. It got to the point for me where it was like, why are we even doing this? It's like, why are we going to church? Why does it feel like a social gathering more than a let's actually listen to what's being said? Not that what was being said was great stuff to hear.
Right, worth listening to.
Hellfire and brimstone, you're going to hell. But like, it seemed more like a see and be seen kind of thing. Dude, one Sunday morning, I remember, this just popped up in my head. I had one of those fine tip Crayola markers, not a permanent marker, just, you know, those fucking little shitty little Crayola markers. It was deep, deep blue. And I was literally 6, 7, or 8, one of those ages. I want to say 7. But I was coloring my nails with it because it showed up really well. Like, I used to do it with like yellow and pink, and it wouldn't really show up on my nail, but the dark blue was, side note, I don't know if y'all can see, but I have camouflage nails. I hand painted them myself. It took me a long time. But anyway, I was like, oh, this shows up really nice. Nice. And, you know, my 7-year-old self and coloring between the lines was not my forte. So I got a little bit on my fingers. When I tell you, I got my shit clapped, dog. I got my ass beat. Beat! Because it was before church, how dare I? Yeah. What's up with a lot of emotionally inarticulate parents thinking that their child is like a master manipulator? Like, can you please relax? Can you please stop projecting all of these Machiavellian fucking mind game perspectives on me? I'm 7.
Projection confession.
Projection confession. What memories did I extract from this exercise?
Oh boy.
All of the above that we just listed. And those are just the ones from tonight. I'm thinking of more, but like, you know, we're only here for a few hours. How can I reframe these memories so that they don't continue to hurt and hinder me in the future? I think for me, a lot of it has to come with time. Like, I'm still so early into this neurodivergent discovery, and I feel like the most outwardly painful part, I've passed that part. Because, bitch, I'm telling you right now, I was a crab without a shell for 3 months straight, crying every single day, not eating right, not sleeping right, processing all this stuff. Peeling my layers down to the fucking musculature, down to my skeleton, and rebuilding my entire existence with this new perspective. And I'm still I still feel pain and almost pity for my child self, just because of all the undue bullshit that person had to go through. And I also see that self as separately from me too. Like, I don't know what that is. I guess it's just time. But I think I'm past the stage where I've forgiven myself for a lot of shit that wasn't my fault, like from my past, right? Not so much there with things that unfold in real time. Not so much like, don't have that quite nailed down yet. Like, when things happen to me in real time that are hurtful or harmful or like damaging or affect me psychologically or mentally, like, sometimes I have to manually override my tendency to blame myself. Because that shit, that is a groove that has been grooved upon for fucking 30 years, right? Old habits die hard. And it is a habit at this point. But I don't have to do it anymore because I was doing it out of survival. I'm out of the woods with that. I'm out of active fight or flight in my day-to-day existence. I have cultivated peace around me that was only possible for me to cultivate as an adult. It simply was not possible for me to have this much control over my environment as a child. And that was a big part of it too. A lot of shit being out of my control. And just not having my needs met. Having your physical needs met is a requirement by law. Having my emotional needs met, having my psychological needs met, having my disabled needs met, none of those were met. And now I'm a fucking autodidact, self-taught, spiteful bitch. I do everything out of spite. I've had to learn everything over again with new knowledge, with new perspectives. And yeah. How can I regularly serve myself with compassionate consolation as I would give to my child self? God damn it. That's what we were just talking about. Compassionate consolation as my 31, almost 32-year-old self. Yeah, we're working on it, sis. We're working on it. I feel like it happens the most when I am reminded of situations that I have not really experienced yet as a realized autistic adult with ADHD. Things I used to experience all the time that would trigger me and hurt me, right? Very real situations that cause fear of abandonment and neglect in me that I haven't really had to navigate as an adult. So when it comes up for the first time as this version of me, it's just like I'm back there 11 years old. Like, sometimes repetition and exposure to these situations is what is needed. It's like, it takes practice to form a habit. And it takes practice to break one too. And, you know, manually overriding my thoughts has gotten easier with age, but also not. You know? To raise up a child, hold on, let me go back a little further. Yes. That was the wall that Whiskey hit. There were some good messages, but the zealots are getting on my dang nerves. Crystal, I remember getting told to stop manipulating my dad because I was crying before he beat my ass. It just fucking infuriates me and renders me speechless. I'm so sorry that you are not allowed to exist as yourself. I'm so sorry that you are subjected to adult-sized projections with your child self and your child mind, your child perspective. Holy shit. How can some of these parents not treat children as human beings and yet make us feel responsible for being human being plus, you know? Fuck me. I'm really, let's see, to raise up A Child and the Strong-Willed Child really painted kids as masterminds. Those books are awful. Oh my God. Those self-help books of like the 80s and 90s. My parents didn't have those. And I don't know if things would have been better if they did. Maybe they would have been about the same. I'm really being mindful to be extra compassionate to people around me so it's easier to give myself the same. I got that expansion pack. I'm human and I am 5 and can manipulate full-grown adults. Yeah.
Got that DLC.
You got that DLC. You got that deluxe edition. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I still think I have a lot of work to do as far as just processing the events with this new knowledge. It's a lot of fucking work, and it's taken me years, and I'm still very much in this phase of rediscovery and reassessment. And it takes every cell in my body to do this work. And bitch, I'm burnt out. I'm still burnt out from the big bang of my original realization that I'm neurodivergent. The dust is still settling from that. I'm still making realizations about that. And I'm fucking exhausted, dude. And like Waba was talking about earlier, I know they dipped for the night, but like, just the internalized ableism is so fucking real. I legitimately have to remind myself when I'm feeling extra shamey-wamey, pointing the finger, blaming myself, I have to manually remind myself that I am literally disabled. And there is nothing wrong with saying those words. There is nothing wrong with being disabled. And being verbal and outspoken about my late discovered disability really itches the craw of people who are more ableist than they realize. And like, I get occasionally I'll get someone who will be like, you can't say that. That's offensive to people with real disabilities. And I take that to mean real, meaning you can see it with your eyeballs. That's the only way that you can believe something, but you believe in God. Okay, go off. People who aren't disabled and don't know anyone who's disabled, even if they do, they don't know what disability means, what it entails, the reality of it. And then they go around telling other disabled people that they can't be disabled because they can't lay eyes on it. That's why I feel some type of way about personally using the words invisible disability to describe my neurotype and my neurodevelopmental disabilities. Because they are far from invisible to me, bitch. They are anything but. Sometimes it's all I fucking see. Sometimes it's all I perceive. Like, oh my God. The whole conversation about disability is so fucking flawed and incomplete and myopic and ableist and classist and misogynist and racist and tweaking it here or tweaking it there is just a small fix, is just a band-aid, because at its root it is oppressive and discriminatory. I'm only talking about this because my Twitter has been aflame today with people trying to come sideways at me because I'm trying to include disabled people in a conversation. I wish that I had a blimp the size of the state of Georgia. I don't know. And I could just spritz everyone with a colorless, odorless, tasteless mist that would imbue upon the population some fucking nuance, capacity to process and comprehend nuance. Zero, 100. That's all I hear from so many people who think that they got me in something. The absolutist language that I hear talking about things that are far from absolute. PJ said something extremely eloquent and articulate about this earlier, and I'm trying to remember exactly what it was.
I'm like, shit.
Yes, you did, baby. Yes, you did. Don't doubt yourself. He was like, okay, we were talking about this. We're talking about like what was happening on Twitter and stuff. And empathy, yes. Empathy, I think, is required. I feel like empathy is the fuel in which powers the capacity for fucking nuance. What was it? I'm thinking. Yes, okay. We were talking about how everyone wants to compartmentalize. When all I'm trying to do with what I'm bringing up and what I'm talking about is include and encompass. And there are people who are consciously or unconsciously unaware of the intersectionalities that exist in humanity. And like PJ said, that you can't compartmentalize and absolutize, he didn't use that word, I just made it up, human traits. And that's so fucking accurate.
I remember now.
Yes.
I did say that.
Because not only does every single human being exist on that spectrum of nuance, 0 to 100 and everything in between, but across that human's lifetime, it's still fluid. They exist on a fluid spectrum of nuance. Whether or not you see it for what it is, whether or not you are able to see or comprehend the nuance, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist in your own life. And people who are too absolute in their way of thinking don't want to acknowledge the nuance. And I don't know why that is. But sure, autistic people are the rigid thinkers. I feel like that's just another projection, honey. Call me the hot take machine, but neurotypical and neurotypical normative society is absolutist, is rigid, is binary as fuck. Because look at the unholy hissy fits that so many people trying to uphold this system throw when we try to bring nuance into the equation, when we try to talk about intersectionality, when we try to talk about disabled rights, when we try to talk about children's rights. They really don't like that one. Children are people with rights as human beings, and we treat them like miniature cattle. And I am child free by choice, and I will always be that way. PJ and I will not have human children. I only give birth to cats. But that doesn't mean that I can't speak on this. And that's another fucking thing. Everybody's been a kid. Everybody has been a child. Everyone who has made it to adulthood has been a child. Period. And you are allowed to speak on your experience from your child perspective. I feel like people don't see that because they don't think their own perspective is valid. Like, It's just so much cyclical projection and like internalized shit, dude. It's just clouding everything up and muddying everything up all the time. It's annoying. It's exhausting. It's heartbreaking. It's deflating. It's all of them shits. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to cover in these exercises. We won't do a whole other exercise because that was a lot. But I'm glad. Ooh, okay, yeah. This is great. So along in here, I flipped to about maybe a fourth of the way through. We've got some inner child affirmations. And I'm going to cover these and then we'll start to wrap up and wind down for the evening. But before I cover these, thank y'all again. Just thank you so much for being here, for listening to this, for including me as a part of your day, you're a part of your night. I really appreciate you, and I want this space to be safe for you to exist as you are, without having to be on, without having to be chipper, without having to be quiet about shit that you're going through. Like, we are here for you. Like, this chat is so amazing. Like, y'all are always validating each other and comforting each other and being like, me too, I get it, with each other. And that's, I feel like for most of us, that's definitely for me, that's all I've ever fucking needed my whole life, is for someone to hear my experience and say, that's valid. Me too. I've been through it too. Like, but also, as we know, it shouldn't have to happen for you in order for you to care and have empathy. Of course, we know that to be true, but like, it's just so nice to bond with folks who have been the fuck through it too. And know that you are safe to exist as you are here. So I just really thank you for being here. So let's end with some inner child affirmations that will help you hopefully approach at least a neutrality with yourself, because your inner child is still you. You don't have to separate the two. It's okay to feel separate, of course, and it's valid if you want to separate them, but like, it's still you. When you were that old, you were you. Like, you're still you. So let's get into these. This says to find a mirror and say these out loud to yourself and repeat multiple times. And the more you do that across time, the more natural it will feel, and the more your subconscious will integrate that as part of your like inner truth. But you don't have to do it in the mirror. Like, if you're like me, if you do any sort of like vocal stimming, echolalia, anything, like, you can just repeat it to yourself under your breath. You can say it out loud. You can think it over and over again. You know, it doesn't have to be... Because listen, staring at myself in the mirror like that and talking, it kind of freaks me out a little sometimes. So, like, I get it. It's hard to experience myself in corporeal form when I exist from the chin up 90% of the time. But just say it to yourself, well, however comfortable you feel. But let's go through these. Let me find a less song. It's just in my ear. Yeah. This is a good one. Okay. I release the feeling of guilt, hurt, and shame. I am protected. I accept every aspect of myself and my personality. I am loved. I am capable of every dream and worthy of every desire. I deserve happiness. I am safe. I am beautiful, and I accept myself for who I am. My needs and feelings are valid. I show myself compassion. I am so much more than I thought I could be. I don't know if this one's in here twice on purpose, but I like that it is, because it's just as true. My needs and feelings are valid. I deserve happiness. Oh, okay. It's a little bit of a repeat in and of itself, which I love. A feeling of peace comforts me. I am in control of my feelings. No one can inflict anything on me that I cannot handle. I love myself. I can protect myself. Setting firm boundaries comes easy for me. My energy is limitless. Whew, some of those for me, I was like, bullshit, you know, like my gut reaction was like, So I'm clearly not there on some of these yet. Like, setting firm boundaries comes easily for me. Still ironing out the kinks on that one. The other one that really got me, where is it? A feeling of peace comforts me. If all you've ever fucking known is turmoil and instability and chaos, then the first time you truly experience peace, it feels fucking suspicious as hell. It's like the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. You're like, this is not right. Like, it's too quiet. It's too calm. What's getting ready to happen? Like, I say it all the time, but it's so true. For the first year and a half, like, for the first year to year and a half of my relationship with PJ, of course, this doesn't take away from anything, any love, any bonding that we did, but like, my nervous system was waiting for the other shoe to drop because I was not used to feeling such tremendous peace. I was not used to my partner being a source of peace for me, a source of comfort. I was so used to that being my source of stress, my source of unrest, my source of overwhelm, my source of spreading myself so thin and ignoring my own needs in order to make sure that their needs are met to my detriment. And when all of that shit went away and I was allowed to exist as myself and he loves me as myself, it was fucking scary. It was scary. It was scary, baby. You scared me.
I'm a scaredy guy.
For like a year and a half.
Call me
But I talked about it in therapy a whole lot. Like, she like dropped the bombshell on me one day. She was like, Tatum, what if I told you that there is no other shoe? And I was like, what? No, you're wrong. It's up there somewhere. It's just taking a little longer to fall down than all the other ones, but it'll be here. Trust me. But I have to remind myself to be okay with peace, be comfortable with peace. And I largely am these days, but like, I have PMDD, so like the week before my period and or anytime my hormones are in flux, it doesn't come as easily for me. Anytime my emotions are particularly dysregulated for whatever reason, it doesn't come as easily to me. Like the feeling of comfort when there's peace. Sometimes any sort of lingering anxiety that I feel will take the wheel and will be like, what if? That's when all the what ifs happen and all the spiderweb thoughts of all the worst case scenarios. It can happen fast, and I'm getting better at realizing when that's happening and manually overriding that. And we didn't cover this necessarily in the book tonight, but like, it's been really pertinent this week. Like, PJ said it to me a lot, and it's helped me a lot to like get through all the spiral shaped thoughts and get through these heavy feelings that I'm feeling, to allow myself to feel them. And I've heard people say that, and for a long time I didn't know what the fuck that meant. I was like, what do you mean feel my feelings? You must mean figure out why I'm feeling them, right? Nope. That's not what that means. That's not what that means. That's intellectualizing your feelings. I'm sorry. Intellectualizing your feelings is when you put on your detective hat and try to get to the root cause. And of course, there's ample time and place to do that. But as far as feeling your feelings, it's literally as simple as acknowledging where in your body you are experiencing physical sensations while you are feeling these feelings. And for me, it serves as doubly helpful. It serves as, okay, it's sort of a grounding exercise. It sort of forces me to acknowledge my corporeal form, to extend my existence from the chin down as well as from the chin up. And in so doing, the feeling passes because I'm allowing it to happen. But I'm spending time going, okay, my ears feel a tremendous amount of pressure because I'm extremely overloaded because there's 4 noises happening at the same time right now. My chest feels tight because I'm super anxious. My shoulders are tensing up. Like, I'm just assessing and identifying where it exists in my body. And truly, for me, the act of that has helped me to acknowledge it, to process it. And here's the big one that took me for fucking ever, y'all. To let it pass when it wants to pass. I just low-key punched myself in the mouth, and that kind of hurt. I'm sorry, self. For the longest fucking time, I was so afraid of peace that whenever I would feel what I was upset about slip away, I would be like, no, wait, come back. And reel it the fuck back in. By way of looking up sad shit to listen to. Watching a sad movie. Watching a fucking compilation of like soldiers coming home to their kids. That shit fucking kills me, dude. Like anything I could to pull that feeling back in. And I think only extremely recently I realized that I did that and realized why I was doing that. But you don't have to do that. It's okay to feel neutral. It's okay to feel at peace. A lot of people are afraid of peace too because it means that they're not doing something. It's like, oh, I could be doing something, but instead I'm relaxing. I'm a lazy piece of shit.
How dare I?
That's not how it works. Laziness is a capitalistic, puritanical construct that is made to levy us against each other and shame each other and ourselves for not getting up out of bed in the morning fast enough to get to our jobs, our jobby jobs that make the rich richer. It's like reverse Robin Hood. Oh. I told you some anti-capitalism will get sprinkled in there. And listen, okay? For any doubters, let me quell your doubtskis right now. I am vehemently anti-capitalist because look the fuck around. Look what's happening right now. People are so quick to ask me, then why? You're fucking tweeting on an iPhone. You're using the internet. You pay with money, don't you? Very good, Chadley. I sure the fuck do. It's almost like we're allowed to question, criticize, detest, and despise the oppressive, deadly system that we are forced to participate in. So let me just say, for any of you who may be listening or watching now or later, who want to be like, well, wait, why do you got a promo code if you're so anti-capitalist? Would you rather me walk around with a rattling a can in the street and begging for coins? Please tell me how my existence would make you comfortable. Because I'm unable to work a public job for multiple fucking reasons. So this is how I am trying to carve my way in this world on my own accord and make it my own way. in a way that I am happy and I am fulfilled and I have my needs met and my disability accommodated for, and my immunocompromised status. I ain't trying to raw dog the air down at a 9 to 5. Are you fucking kidding me? As much as I wish I could be blasted off to my home planet, I do realize that this is the only planet that I'll ever step on, so I might as well make my corner of the world a nice place to be, where I don't want to, drive off a cliff every morning on the way to work. This is quickly turning into a conversation that I started on Twitter today. So I got to speak my piece about it, but real quick, I got to take like a 2-second BRB. Then we'll cover just a quick little something that I got in my email today, an article that was emailed to me by a digest that really made me mad. So quick BRB, stretch them, drink them, smoke them if you got them. Hi. Okay, had to take an inhaler puff. Navigating asthma is fun. It's like a little treat. Get to find my limit every day the hard way. And it's great. Okay, so pardon. By the way, I'm going to show this off every chance I get. My fucking Animal Crossing inhaler holder, bitch. I love it so fucking much. Makes me happy. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Whiskey. Okay, hello, ring light. You've got the ring light. Okay. For those of you who don't know, this summer on Medium, I took up writing as an outlet. Because fuck Twitter's character limit. I have way too much to fucking say. So I post when I feel like vomiting words out of my fingers. I haven't written in a little minute, but doesn't matter. So I get emails every couple of mornings from Medium, like Writer's Digest. And I guess it's based on the tags that I use. Is this way too loud or is it just me? Let's see. Okay. Based on the tags I use, I guess I use a lot of like autistic, actually autistic, neurodivergent on my work because I write about it a lot, and it sends me pertinent articles that it thinks I might like. And one of them was sent to me this morning. And the fucking title of the email was the title of the article. And I said, I said, wipes crusties out of eyes. Okay, so we're doing this right now. Cool. And I opened up the article, and of course it was behind a paywall. So I signed up for the free trial so I could read this article. And I'm only bringing this up now because the conversation was heading that way, and I've talked about it on Twitter already, and the fucking title pissed me off, so I needed to read more. Okay? This article contradicts itself at every fucking turn, and it's really frustrating. Most late identified autistics don't want to work full time. But let's read this first sentence and stop. Some studies state that many autistics cannot work full time. That's not a don't want to kind of thing. That's not a, I don't really feel like it. It's an inability to do it. Jackie should have reconsidered before writing this fucking article. With an ableist title like this, with the fucking outdated, antiquated, fucking who gives a fuck, no one wants to work anymore trope. What are we doing? I should note that this author is also autistic. And it is possible to be disabled and simultaneously ableist. It's just laterally so. Okay, so the title is contradicted by the first sentence. Cool. The spectrum is so wide and so many factors can influence how autism impacts a person, such as intelligence, socioeconomics, co-occurring conditions, etc., that it can be hard to know what statistic actually applies to an autistic person. Okay. Were these studies done with young adults or older adults? Did these statistics factor in intelligence levels? Did this study include late identified autistics, and do these statistics account for various confounding factors? It can be hard and exhausting to get to the bottom of these factors and find clear answers. You can read my essay, Research is Hard. I'd rather not. Furthermore, I often wonder if it's worth my time. I work with a small subset of autistics within autism, late identified autistics. I myself would identify as late identified. I learned I was autistic at the age of 29. PJ is also late identified autistic. 29, he might have been 30, no, 28, because we're less than a year apart, but I am a little older. Right, Booby?
Yeah.
Okay, so my brain just farted. I think I have a brain fart button. Damn it, I thought I did. Yeah, I do. That was a brain fart. Most of these individuals were able to make it their whole lives without being diagnosed because they also possess high levels of intelligence and masking skills. They're a niche all to themselves. Many autism statistics may not apply to them simply because we weren't considered autistic. Like, I definitely agree with that. But, like, here we go. Let me be clear. I'm not saying that autism research isn't valuable or valid. It has its place. The apostrophe actually does not go there in this case. Note to the author. It has ITS place and purpose and serves the autism community at large. However, for the niche group I work with, the statistics aren't very helpful. For example, I recently read an essay that talked about the troubling statistics that over 70% of autistics are not employed full-time. For the general population of autism, that is troubling. I feel like that's a low estimate. I've heard it's as much as 85%. I need to do some more diving into these statistics because the author goes on to make up statistics later in the article, and they say so themselves. It's not me accusing them. But at any rate, the majority of a group of people with this particular disability are not able to work full-time, including myself. And it is troubling. And it's like, why is that? Is it an us problem or is it a societal problem? Like, this author is so close to getting to the point, but they just take the ableist path every time. Okay. For my niche group of people, it's quite the opposite, talking about late identified. Most are capable of working full-time, and most don't want to. Most autistics I work with struggle or recognize that hustle culture and modern structure of the workday, 8 to 5, 9 to 5, is not healthy or desirable for them. Of course, we don't exist in a vacuum. I'm not a monolith, but like for me, it's not a matter of, oh, I don't feel like it. It's a matter of I am unable, physically, emotionally, psychologically, mentally, and otherwise, unable to work a job that I am expected to work at my big age in this economy, in this society. It's not a, I don't feel like it. I don't want to. And guess what? Even if I didn't want to, do you fucking blame me? Look around. People are grinding themselves into bone dust for pennies on the dollar. Full-time, 50 hours, 60 hours a week, and still can't afford to keep a roof over their head. Why the fuck would anyone want to participate in a system like this? Okay, fucking This is a watercolor that the author did. I didn't realize it was by the author. They're saying we because, like I said, the author is also autistic. We want to find work that meets our financial needs, our desire to contribute meaningfully to the world, and our need for time spaciousness. We need time for rest, time for our hobbies, time for whatever sparks our interest. These are high priorities for us. She is like one step askew from the point. Like, and I think it just might be the choice of language here. Accommodating my disability is not a preferential for me. It's not just a, oh, this is really important to me. It's a necessity. High priorities for us. That makes it sound like it's tangible, that makes it sound like it's fluid and intangible and subject to change. Bleh. Whoa, that came out of nowhere. It's a necessity for a lot of us. And I think this article would have gone a lot better if they recognized that we are unable to. It's not that we are not willing. It's not a willing kind of thing. I would argue that most neurotypicals would also love this as well. Of course, everyone wants that work-life balance that does not exist in end-stage capitalism. It just doesn't. Boundaries do not exist. I wrote a whole fucking piece on this on my Medium page. Medium.com/potatum with the number 8. It's there. It's all there. About how disability and capitalism do not mix. Empathy and capitalism do not mix. The trouble is, it's hard to find these kinds of jobs, so we usually have to make them for ourselves. It's why I created my private practice. I looked around at the jobs available to me, and none of them met my needs, so I decided to create it myself. That is how this should be talked about. Like, none of these jobs that are available to me in my career, what I studied, what have you, meet my needs as an autistic person who is disabled. Like, that is completely valid and completely, like, firm on that, instead of being like, I don't know, it's really important to me, but, like, it's not really necessary. It's more of a wish. Like, it dismisses the reality of being autistic. It dismisses the reality of executive dysfunction. And if you also have ADHD, it dismisses the reality of time blindness and fucking sensory overload and miscommunications and social norm faux pas that we don't even realize are faux pas. Like, come on, bitch. Don't worry, I'm not here to say if I can do it, you can do it too, or some other pull yourself up by your bootstraps ignorance. I'm aware it takes an immense amount of risk, time, privilege, resources, and more to start a business. I'm not saying pull yourself up by your bootstraps. What I am saying is that most late identified autistics don't want to work. I played the fucking game for 3 decades. Okay? Did the K through 12, graduated college in 4 fucking years by the skin of my teeth, and even took a year of grad school. Once I left that structured environment as an unrealized autist with ADHD, I was fucking floating aimlessly ever since. Taking odd clerical jobs, office jobs, anything. I didn't know what I was supposed to be fucking doing. But I was sacrificing my needs, my physical well-being, my psychological well-being for employers and jobs and positions that, grand scheme, do not fucking matter. A receptionist at a car dealership. My job was treated... I almost got a fucking UTI because I was not allowed to use the bathroom, and they treated it like I was on the fucking Like I had the nuclear codes or something. And I'm not here to say what jobs are important and what aren't. What I am saying is the undue amount of pressure that neurotypical normative society puts on jobs that really are just like, worst case scenario, you missed the call. You know what I mean? Like, people's lives aren't at stake when they're calling to ask about your hours of operation at a car dealership. Like, the jobs that I gravitated toward were jobs that prohibited me from having boundaries, because that's what I was raised in, what I was taught. And I ground myself into a fine powder, and I have absolutely nothing to show for it, by the way. Anything from my old life is all but a distant fucking memory to me now. I've had to restructure my life from the ground up because I am unable to hack it in this society. It's not a I don't feel like it kind of thing, Jackie. It's not. They've typically already worked full time. Many had extremely successful jobs and positions, and they're exhausted. Their exhaustion is partially what led them to discover they are autistic. Exhaustion is accurate and a gross, like, underestimation. It's a simplification. Autistic burnout, I wish it was just exhaustion. Like, and I'm not trying to say that the way that she perceives her reality is wrong. It's just when you're making a fucking bold claim like that an entire group of people doesn't want to work, you're going to have to use a little bit stronger language than, oh, they're just tired. They're exhausted, guys. It's been a long day. It's way more than that. It is way fucking more than that. It's way deeper than that. They don't want to return to that life. Can't. I can't return to that life because there will not be a life for me to live. It was driving me into the ground. They want to work less. Have to. I cannot work sustainably 40 hours a week without suffering immensely, psychologically, physically, mentally, emotionally. It negatively affects every aspect of my life to be exploited for pennies on the dollar at a job that does not care if I die on the clock. They want options that provide them with the flexibility needed to honor their unique needs. You make it sound like we're like just a spicy Virgo or something. Like, you make it sound like we have quirky little tastes and quirky little quirks. It's just such minimalizing language to talk about a fucking disability. Am I tripping, y'all? Am I tripping? Am I looking too much into this? Because this ran right the fuck through me, dude. And I had to ask myself, is this just triggering a wound? Is it triggering guilt and shame that you still feel? Sure, that's definitely part of it. But it's way more than just that. It's the fact that this person works with other autistic people and is saying this language to other autistic people. This is not a reassuring article. This is not an article that bolsters our stance or empowers us or emboldens us to stand up for ourselves as autistic adults, because autistic children turn into autistic adults. No matter what Autism Speaks says, you can't beat it out of your child. We need people stepping up to the fucking mic who know that and who use more definitive language than, oh, they're just tired. Oh, their needs are unique. Let me know if I'm tripping in the fucking comments below. It reminds me of a fellow autistic who decided to make up her own statistics about autism. Uh-oh, what the hell? She was so fed up with the pathological lens of autistic statistics that she refocused on her own positive traits of autism. This writer is just incomplete with their phrasing in that I don't know. It's hard for me to tell where they stand sometimes. It's like you get the point, but you also don't. I'd like to take a page from her book and make up my own late identified autism statistics inspired by the group of autistics I work with. 96.23% don't want to work full time. Don't want to work. Cool. Cool. So we're still on that indecisive, dismissive, deflecting, beat around the bush language, are we? Well, they don't want to because they're tired. That doesn't help. That's not helpful language. Please. Please. Does this person realize that autism is a disability for a lot of autistic people? Just because they themselves might not see themselves as disabled doesn't mean that reality does not exist for so many of us. Myself included. You know? It's not a don't want to kind of thing, Jackie. Just try harder. That's all I've been doing my whole life, Jackie. 94.5% want a meaningful creative career. Okay, sure. That's valid. That's a valid thing to want in a career for anyone, autistic or not. 103% experience and abundance of creativity. Okay. Statistics above 100. It's super cheeky and cute, but like... Yes, Crystal, it is. Weird as fuck. 96.23% don't want to work, but 94.5% want a meaningful, creative career. Which is it? Which is it? I want... Huh?
Like the next number is 103%.
That's what I said. 103% of the late identified autistic people that she works with.
What? What? What do you even... I don't know what you...
That's what I said.
I
Like,
don't know what the point you're trying to make.
if we're
there
making
is.
up fucking percentages, okay. Purple percent of grapes don't taste like green ones. Like, we're just making shit up.
Yeah.
79% are pursuing other options outside of the traditional 9 to 5.
I know why this was behind a paywall now, because they didn't want anyone they didn't want just anyone to see this bullshit.
Yeah, that's PJ said that's behind a paywall because they didn't want just anybody to see this. I'm inclined to believe that. These are the kinds of statistics that excite me. Boo. This is just not it. Not it. No, I don't want to sign up for your fun letter. But 1,100 people like this fucking article. So that's cool. They have 3,000 fucking followers reading this shit. So that's cool. You might specialize in late identified autism, but you also specialize in lateral ableism. Unpack it, Jackie. Please. The fact that I got sent this in a fucking email this morning and wiping crusties out of my eyes in bed and I see autistic people don't want to work full time. And you expect me not to say something? Is that a Minka? Bring me hams. Hi, Misa. Oh, Guineas. Let's get you flipped around.
He just got done pooping.
He just got done pooping? Cool.
Well, I mean, some time ago.
Some time ago? Which
Yeah.
one is it?
Well, I don't know. The room smelled like poop.
Oh, I didn't smell anything.
Of course you didn't. You didn't go.
Whoa, the fucking mic. Oh, this keeps like moving. We'll have to fix that cord. It's a Minka alert. Look at him, Pete's. Oh. I just need to physically look instead of doing brain math to try to do opposite on the screen. What you doing, Meester?
Yeah, he's clean.
Him brightening the mood.
That's right. Kitty decompression.
A stinky minka, stinky, stinky minka. Do the Fortnite. Holy fuck, y'all. Yep. That was kind of the last thing I wanted to cover tonight. Hooey. I was so nervous about this stream because just been a rough week, but it's helped me talk through some shit and process some shit, and it gets me excited to read about this more and delve into some more shadow work on my own time. And I'd love to share some findings with y'all. Let me read this. Crystal, I really want to unpack the word work. Yes! Like, what is work? Are you only classifying cogs in the capitalist machine as jobs, as work? I think that's how I took it. That's how I interpreted it. Like, a job where you clock in, punch in, and punch out. Like, I'm assuming a paying job. Because if I've fucking learned anything in this past year and some change, that I was thrust into a role of advocacy that I do not take lightly, and I'm trying my best to be as current and intersectional and inclusive and correct as I can. It's a lot of fucking work. And I don't get paid a dime. I don't punch in and punch out. I get paid here and there. I get paid, like, you know, a bit a month on Twitch, a bit a month on TikTok, you know, a tiny bit here and there with the merch, with a brand deal or two. Like, the work that I'm doing does not pay dollars. But I'm making do in other ways because I fucking have to, you know. The alternative is starve, houselessness, death, you know. They're just tired. They have to wait a few more minutes at the grocery store or the fast food line. Like, enough with the enough. Pidge is right. Like, enough with the dismissal of, there's no such thing as unskilled labor. Stop calling jobs at McDonald's teenage jobs. Is McDonald's closed until 4 p.m. every day, motherfucker? Who's ringing you up on your lunch break? I bet they're not in high school. I bet they're in class. I think capitalists think anything you do that isn't making them money is a hobby. Yes. Regardless of the effort one puts in or the output. That's what happens when you conflate human worth with levels of productivity. And also conflating levels of productivity with money. Because productivity is subjective. Productive for who? The people ringing in those fucking profits. Even when it makes them money and tons of it, they still call it a hobby. Yes! Acting and writing. Whiskey speaking from experience as an actor.
Yeah.
Me speaking from my experience as a fucking local regional theater performer. Not making tons of money, but it's tons of fucking work. But even creative jobs that pay tons and tons of money. With these people who lick them boots and buy this narrative, you can't win with them. You can't. Go to school. Well, I can't afford school. I'm sorry. Well, ask for a loan. Okay, I got a loan for $40,000, but I can't. No one's hiring me, even though I have a degree in this field. No one's hiring in that field. Well, you should have studied something else. Well, I'm unable to pay my student loans back. Well, you should have made a better decision. Well, okay, I went to fucking acting school, theater school, dancing school, and I'm a professional entertainer, fine arts. I am a writer. I'm a, you know, whatever. But we're not getting paid fairly. Oh, you're just being ungrateful. Dude? I encourage y'all to truly If you have conversations like this with people in your life, online or otherwise, and you get a bunch of bullshit like that in response and people moving the goalposts, don't engage. Disengage. I am more than happy to like elaborate my stance on things and my opinions on things with anyone who's asking in good faith for me to clarify or elaborate on something. Of course. Especially online when character limits are a thing. But people sometimes mistake my not saying something for me being vehemently against something because I didn't say it. You can't write dissertations on Twitter. Twitter has no place for fucking footnotes. Like, what do you want me to do? Do you want all of my tweets to be a fucking thread? I don't have the spoons for that. Am disabled. Oh, I'm using it as an excuse? Oh, okay, cool. It's like, it just takes your energy and zaps your soul to engage with people who move the goalposts no matter what you fucking do. So, and I gotta take my own fucking advice, because sometimes it do be getting to me, and sometimes I do be letting them have it. But it's always like to my detriment, and it's always my energy like getting zapped. For what? You know? It's just not worth it. Oh. This was not as heavy as I thought it was. I mean, we've talked about heavier shit with the parent book, you know? But holy shit, y'all. We did it. Another one in the books. I want to thank y'all so much again for being here tonight. This was fun. This was nice. I am in a better mood than I was when I started. Y'all helped me get through a lot, and I appreciate you a lot. And I'll be back on Wednesday with something I don't know yet. I don't want to say anything too definite and then put myself in that box, because anyone who operates on spoons knows how that goes sometimes. On the day of, when things just aren't going the way you anticipated they would go. And things can change, but congratulations again to Whiskey.
Yes, Whiskey.
For winning this lovely shadow work journal. I will DM you. If I don't DM you tonight, I'll DM you tomorrow. Or you can just DM me. Are we mutuals on Twitter? I can never keep up with this stuff, so I apologize, y'all. I promise it's not that I don't care. It's that my brain is made of Swiss cheese, okay? So I'll find you, friend. I'll find you. I'll DM you here. Thank y'all so much. Lurkers, listeners now and later, may you have a beautiful time zone wherever thou may art. We will be back on Wednesday with another one. So, stream adjourned. See you Wednesday.
Shlabami.
Bye.
Balls.